and have a great time today. So I'm gonna get us all set up and get us started. And just in case you guys want to know this, we are over capacity right now with the weekend event. And if you happen to come back, if you leave to go to the bathroom, which sounds kind of weird to say, but if that happens or something and you can't get back in, just know that the overflow room is at drboycetv.com. That's the home for intelligent Black people, as you all know. So go ahead and get comfortable, get started. And also I want you to get familiar with the interface. Look for the Q&A section and all that good stuff. And let's get started right now. So here is the first thing I want to kind of get us started with is, first of all, good morning. And I'd like everybody, if you could, shout out the city that you're from or shout out the name of your business, put the website of your business in there, whatever it is that you would like for people to know. We are here to talk about your Black wealth, Black real estate, all land ownership, things like that. You guys know what we're about. You know what we believe in, and you know what we stand for. And our goal is to engage in what we call a Project 2070. Project 2070 is where we believe by the year 2070 that Black people can actually be the most financially literate, financially intelligent people on the planet. It starts with you. It starts with your children. It starts with what we choose to do right now as a community. So we're going to do this. We're going to make that pledge to dominate. That's what we're meant to do. That's what God put us on this planet to do. And that's what I want you to do. So let me just get some stuff set up here so that we can kind of get comfortable and get ready. We're going to have a great weekend. This weekend is going to be so much fun. It's going to be focused on Black wealth and real estate. And we got experts coming through from all different walks of life. Miss Stephany DeBerry, the one I'm going to introduce, is one of many. And there's so many other people that are really, really good at all different areas of real estate. And why are we doing this? Well, first of all, you guys may know, let me ask you, has anybody, give me a yes or no if you've ever heard me talk about the 3 pillars of wealth. If you've ever heard me talk about the 3 pillars of wealth, the 3 pillars of wealth are stock investing, entrepreneurship, and real estate. Those are the 3 pillars of wealth. Why is it important to understand the 3 pillars of wealth? Well, it's very important to understand the 3 pillars of wealth because if you ever want to have the resources that rich people have, you've got to figure out how they got those resources. You got to figure out what the rules of the game are. If you don't know where the money is, then how would you expect to ever have any money? If you don't understand wealth and study wealth, then why would you think you're going to have wealth? I don't study how to twerk, right? So if they had a twerking contest, I would probably come in last place. I would probably be in last place in a twerking contest because I don't study how to twerk. I don't know how to bend your knees properly and make sure your back is arched the right way. I don't know how to do none of that because that doesn't matter to me. Right. So what's fascinating to me is that I see a lot of people who spend 0 time studying wealth, 0 time studying real estate, 0 time studying where the assets are. And then they're surprised when guess what? They have no assets. Right. So I will just say to you that if you want to get good at anything, just know in your community, you've got experts all over the place that know how to do all kinds of stuff. These experts are readily available. We have a bunch of them here in the Black Business School joining us this weekend for Black Real Estate Weekend. But there are others out there as well. And so whatever you want to be good at, go study that thing. That's what I encourage you to do. Go study that thing. So everybody type the word study in the chat. If you get what I'm saying, study. You study what you want to be great at. You study what you want to dominate in. You study what it is you want to succeed in. Right. So let's jump right in. You guys know that I don't mess around, and I want to let everybody know a couple logistical things before we jump into stuff. Is one, if you can't get in, the overflow room is drboycetv.com. 2, if you're watching anywhere else other than inside the event or on drboycetv.com, just know that you can go to blackrealestateweekend.com. You can still go to blackrealestateweekend.com and register for this event. Also, on that page, you'll get a one-time chance to buy the recording of this event. for a massive discount. I don't know if it's 70% off or it's something really huge. So, or maybe 60, it's big, right? So you can, if you want to get that for your family, you can do that. The Black Business School, why are we here? Well, we're here because we want to be here for the next 400, 500 years. I've studied the history of great universities like Harvard and Yale and Stanford and all that. And I said, Black people, we need our own version of Harvard University. We need our own Yale. We need our own Stanford. A lot of Black wealth gets drained because of things like student loan debt. I don't know how many of you in here have been body slammed by student loan debt. Give me a yes or no. So all this debt actually drains a lot of Black wealth, probably to the tune of a couple $1 trillion per generation, I would imagine, being sucked out of the community. And it's just not working out. And so what we kind of believe, and this is what makes us different, among other things. We have about maybe 5 to 10 things that make us just very different from what you might get in college and things like that. Not simply just the fact that we have people on the faculty like Dr. Claude Anderson, the leading economic thinker of our generation. But in addition to that, we believe that you search for the solutions wherever they are. We also believe that in order to move forward, you can't be afraid to look backward, right? You can't be afraid to look back and say, where did we go wrong? Where are some areas where we could have thought it through a little bit? Maybe we could have processed things a little bit more. Maybe we could have examined the situation a little more strategically before we made the move that other people told us to make. Right. So everything we do is through the lens of Blackness. Everything we do is through the lens of Black wealth, Black economic development, which ultimately leads to the real key. The real key is power. Right. The real key is power, which is deeply connected to freedom. Power and freedom are cousins. Right. A free person may not have power over you, but they've got power over themselves. Right. A free person may not own everything in the building, but they definitely at least own their person. They own their property. Right. So power and freedom are deeply connected. People who are not free don't usually have much power, and people who have power are usually very free. So ultimately, the question that we have to ask ourselves in this whole conversation, and I want to really start with that high vibrational disposition so that we can really understand where we're trying to operate here. The key is not just, okay, I'm gonna go out here and make $1 million. If that's what you want to do, then God bless you. I hope you do it. The key is not, okay, I want to own 10 apartment buildings and whatever. That's great if that's that's cool, but that's not really the final key. The key is not just more vacations and driving a Lamborghini. Although those things are okay, the key is freedom. The key is power. The key is happiness. Yesterday I talked to a little cousin that I hadn't spoken to for years, and I saw him, and I hadn't talked. I actually maybe had one conversation with this kid in his whole life. Right, he was the son of a cousin of mine, and I literally had only had one conversation with him in my entire life. But when he Facebook messaged me, I said, "Oh, I know who you are. I know exactly who your daddy is because you look just like him." Right. So this cousin who looks just like his daddy, he called me on the phone and we were talking just kind of man to man. And he's asking me these questions about success and what it means to be happy and successful in life and everything else. And I said, first of all, I have a lot of respect for you. For the first reason I have respect for you is you're 21 years old and you're asking me all the right questions about life, how to win in the game of life. I said that's really awesome. You have no idea. I said, you have to be as old as I am to know how young you are and to realize how excited I am that you're 21 years old and you're trying to figure it out. You're asking questions. And I said, because a lot of people, at that age, they just try to figure it out on their own. You're figuring things out that your parents could probably explain to you, or some older person could break down for you, but it's going to take you 10 years to learn these hard lessons because you're doing it the slow way. You're doing it the hard way, right? That's how a lot of us end up learning, but that's not the most efficient way to learn. So I said, so I'm really proud of you for asking these questions at the age of 21. I said, number two, the other reason I'm very proud of you is because you're seeking the right thing. You're seeking, you're not just saying, how do I make more money or how do I become more powerful? You're seeking things like happiness and freedom. Remember I told you, freedom, power, and happiness are all kind of connected. People who are free and powerful tend to be happier. Those who are powerful tend to be more free. Those who are free are happier because then you can pursue your happiness. I said, so what's wonderful is that you're figuring out what's going to make you happy. And I said, I can't answer that question for you. I don't know what's going to make you happy. And I'm not here to judge that. But I can tell you that as a Black man in America, that the more power you have over your own life, then the more freedom you have in your life. And the more freedom you have, the more you are able to do what they talked about in the Constitution and all these documents white people wrote many years ago, which is the pursuit of happiness, right? They talk about that. What is it? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That means figuring out where your bliss is located and going and pursuing that. Well, here's the thing. You can't pursue something if you don't know what it is, how to identify it, or where it's located, right? Like, how can I pursue something when I can't even identify it when it's right in my face? Some of y'all get that maybe in relationships where you throw away bad relationships because happiness is like, I'm here, happiness in the building, y'all, and you ignore it because you're seeking something else. You look right through happiness because you don't even know what it looks like. You haven't achieved the knowledge of self to even know what is gonna make you happy, or maybe you just either can't identify it or you don't know where it's located. Like, you don't know what to. If someone gives you $1 million, you wouldn't know exactly how to use that $1 million to make yourself happy. Or maybe you don't have freedom, right? The freedom to actually pursue the happiness. So you say, gosh, I know what would make me happy. What will make me happy is a great relationship and a lot of money and a nice vacation and the better health or whatever. But you say, well, I can't do that because I got to go to work on Tuesday. Right. Or I would go pursue happiness, but I can't because I'm stuck in a bad relationship and I have all these other obligations to do all these things that mean nothing. I got my favorite white supremacist that I work for every day of the week, or whatever. I'm on the corporate plantation, whatever. Right. You can't pursue your happiness. Well, why? Well, because you don't have power. And it's the power over your own life. I'm not talking about having power over other people. I'm talking about just having power over your own life, which means that you don't have freedom, which means that you can't pursue happiness, even if you know what it looks like. So what is this whole weekend event about? This is not about just the X's and O's of real estate. Yeah, we can show you all of that. This is not just about making money. This is about you finding happiness and you finding your bliss, finding power, which leads to freedom, which leads to happiness. And let me tell you something about power, and it's particularly economic power. I know a couple of things about that. I've been studying economic power for about 30 years now. The thing about economic power is that it's heavily connected to real estate. If you look at the history of most wealthy people in this country, most wealthy families have a real estate portfolio. If you look back at the major power moves in America's quest to become the economically dominant force of the earth, it's deeply connected to real estate. It's not just connected to real estate and land ownership as a functional task for the achievement of power. It's also connected to real estate and land ownership as a core cultural value. Now we talked about happiness. Now we're talking about values. Right. And when I consider and I think about how culture and values play a huge role in your wealth accumulation process, I ask myself, I listen very carefully when people talk, and I say to myself, I say, okay, what are your values? You know, they always say, well, you can tell me what your values are, but if you show me where you put your resources and where you put your money and where you put your time, I can tell you what your values are. When I talk to and mentor young people, I literally ask them, I say, so what do you do with your day? Like, what do you do when you get up in the morning? What do you do with your time? You have 24 hours in your day, just like the rest of us do. So what do you do? Where do you invest your 24 hours? And when I listen to that, I say, okay, now that's telling me what your values are, what matters to you, what's important to you, right? So land ownership and the ownership of property in the accumulation of power, which leads to freedom, which can lead you to find your happiness. A lot of this comes down to culture and values. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who who really wanted as a core cultural value, her mama raised her to believe that owning property was literally the most important thing she could ever do in her life. Her mother told her that anybody that wants to have freedom should not be a renter. They should be an owner. They should own assets, own property. So she said, I want to own my own house and I want to own an apartment building. So she wanted to own an apartment building so bad that she said, I really like getting my hair done every 2 weeks, but it's super expensive and I could probably do it myself at home. And so she said, because owning property is really important, that's an essential task that I must complete. That's an essential skill I must have. That's an essential thing I must do. I'm going to actually do my own hair for as long as it takes for me to save up enough money for me to get that first down payment so that I can become a property owner over time. So that's what she did. Now I'm not telling ladies what to do with your hair. I don't even have hair, right? So I'm not qualified. I just want to make this clear. I am not qualified to tell you what to do with your hair. Alicia would smack me upside my bald ass head if she knew that I was telling women what to do with their hair or whether they should go to the hair salon. So this is not what we're doing here. This is not a man telling women what to do with their hair, but I'm just telling you a story about a Black woman that I respect and admire tremendously. So she spent about a year and a half doing her own hair. She still looked good. Everything was fine. She learned a few new tricks in the process, and she saved all that hair money instead of going down to that Korean, hair shop, because y'all know what it is in the hair industry. Right? That's another action plan we need as a community, is we must retake that multi-billion-dollar hair care industry, right? But that's another conversation for another day. She goes and so instead of giving her money away to go get her hair done, she puts this money in an account and she saves it. And some of it she invests in stock, and the stock value goes up. And after about a year and a half, she had enough money to make her first down payment, and she bought her first property. And she bought it in New York City, which is one of the toughest places in America to get property, right? If she had been in Alabama or Mississippi, she could have done it pretty quickly. But she's in New York City, which is a really tough place to buy your first property. It's doable, but it's tough, right? So she gets her first property. She buys the home. The home value in the time since she bought that house is probably tripled almost, or something like that, or maybe gone up maybe 130% or something like that. So that was wealth she made on autopilot. And this is passive income. That's how rich people get richer. It's a myth to believe that the hardest working people are the ones who make the most money. That's simply not true. The people that make the most money are the people who figured out how to make money without actually working. And those are the people who own assets. So you want to give your children a little tip on being wealthy. Teach them to own assets, starting with real estate. So the value of the house shoots way up. Then she's able to take some of that equity from that house. And she then goes and says, my next step is I want to get some multifamily property. I want to own the building. I want to be the landlord. So she goes and she takes a big chunk of the equity and then goes and buys a multifamily property unit. And next thing you know, she's the landlord. She's getting the passive income every month. These white people don't even know they got a Black woman as their landlord, by the way. She said that she had a property management company because she didn't want to explain to them. She didn't feel like taking the time to explain to them that Black women own property too. She just had the property management company take care of everything. So when they finally find out after they paid her 5 years of rent that she's the landlord, they're usually quite surprised, right? Not that they're racist, but they're very surprised because they're not used to Black women making those power plays. But now she's doing extremely well. She's probably a multimillionaire, and it's all because of where her core values were. Because remember, going back to the very beginning, she could have spent all that time going to the hair and the nail shop and investing in hair and nails. Instead, she invested in her power and her freedom and her happiness, and now she's got wealth. And she's able to pursue her happiness because of the power and the freedom that has been accumulated due to her economic choices. Now, do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying? Give me a yes in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. I'm trying to help you understand that when we talk about wealth and economics, this is not just about X's and O's of the 401k versus the IRA versus the 403b versus the long-term portfolio asset allocation accumulation. No, man, this is about your happiness. This is about you figuring out within yourself what matters and how you can actually get to the point where you can live a relevant, meaningful life, right? Where you don't have to spend more time with your boss than you spend with your own kids. Just in case you didn't know, that's not normal. That it's not supposed to be that way. right? But maybe you think it's supposed to be that way because that's what somebody told you, but I'm just here. Uncle Boyce, Dr. Boyce is here to tell you that it ain't supposed to be like that. Now, let me kind of break a couple things down to you real quick as we begin this process. First of all, Black people have to go backward in order to move forward. Just last night, I was doing a podcast on drboycetv.com about the Negro Leagues. And I saw that Major League Baseball has finally acknowledged the Negro Leagues as Major League Two. Like they finally have recognized that the Negro Leagues should be classified as the Major League. So they're going to include all the Negro League stats and the Major League stats and the records and everything else, finally recognizing great hitters like Satchel Paige and stuff like that, who literally could outswing Babe Ruth even on a bad day. But fine, whatever. Okay, so finally you're acknowledging greatness when greatness was already there. That really bothered me. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you why it bothered me a little bit. It bothered me because when I think about the Negro Leagues, I think about one of the most economically tragic events in all of American history. I think about the Negro Leagues and the celebration of Jackie Robinson to be the same way you think about the Pilgrims and celebrating Thanksgiving, right? You think of that Thanksgiving was good for you, but it wasn't good for me, right? Thanksgiving was good for the white people, but not so good for the Black and brown people, right? Thanksgiving, I can understand why you would celebrate Thanksgiving, but I don't know why I would celebrate Thanksgiving. So this economic version of Thanksgiving that took place when the Negro Leagues were pretty much sucked up and sucked into the Major League Baseball. I see that as a scenario where I say, wait a minute, hold on, wait. You mean in the Negro Leagues, we own the whole league, right? Now, 50, 60, 70 years later, we can't even own a piece of a team, right? So wait, in the Negro Leagues, we were the owners. And now we're kind of the renters. You know, we went from being the bosses to being the employees. I don't understand. We went from being the producers to being the consumers. That's not a power play. That's called hustling backward. So what I believe is that when you think about Black people, you go deeper and you think about land ownership, and you consider the fact that Black people owned 15 times more land 100 years ago than you own today. You own 15 times more land 100 years ago than you own today. I just got to say it one more time so we can understand this. Consume this information, consume this. 15 times more land 100 years ago than you own today. You got to ask yourself, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Why are we hustling backward? And somehow we've been led to believe that that's the same as going forward. Backward and forward are not the same thing. East is not the same as West. North is not the same as South. And Black wealth, it is very easy from where I sit to see exactly why Black wealth is declining. And so what I want you to just kind of realize is that a lot of your solutions are out there. You're searching for gold and buried treasure, but there is gold buried in your backyard. Gentrification is just one of many examples where the gold was always buried in your backyard, but you walk right past the gold every day. And then we got upset because somebody else saw the gold and came in and bought it. A lot of these neighborhoods that are gentrified today, where they put the Whole Foods and the Starbucks and the dog park, and you know what's coming after that, right? The hippies are coming after that. A lot of these neighborhoods, that property could have been bought for pennies on the dollar. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: was there something about our core values when it came to wealth and asset accumulation that distracted us from what we really needed to have? And made us focus on the things that ended up being worthless. We passed up the chance to own assets in exchange for things like college degrees and student loans and all kinds of other stuff. I'm not saying these things are bad. I'm not dissing people that went to college. I went to college. A lot of us went to college. But what I'm saying is that we got to look backward in order to know how to properly move forward. And if you're not ready to do that work, then you're going to always be confused. Okay, are we on the same page? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. Give me a yes in the chat if you're with me on this. If you follow what I'm arguing here, the point I'm making. Okay, so why are we having the Black Real Estate Weekend? Well, because we want to figure all that out. And I'm going to say thank you. So right now, I'm going to say it probably all through the whole weekend. Thank you to Jessica Parker and Carmelita Turner and Taryn Donatien and Lawrence and everybody and all the experts that are coming through because they pull all this together. They did the work. And I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, I'm going to go back and make sure that I address them as well. We have a great team here at the Black Business School, an awesome team of people that are brilliant. They're always here to help you. They're Black first. They are 100% B1. They're all about Black wealth, and they're getting the job done. No government funding, no corporate sponsorship. Nobody's paying these bills. This is built by the Black community. This is for the Black community. So built by you, for you. And also thank you to the students who believe in us because we are here to get the work done. And that's why we're doing the Black Real Estate Weekend. So I'm done talking. I'm going to go ahead and pass the stage on to Miss Stephany DeBerry. Now, Stephany was brought to me by Jessica Parker. Stephany is she's an awesomely smart lady who seems to know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. And she's a real estate expert and is one of the many people. We have a series of experts. Remember, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So we're doing this together. I'm going to come in, but then there's so many great people that are coming through. And when you get done, you are going to be a different person. You are going to have a different skill set. You're going to be a ton smarter than you were when you got here. So those of you who are watching from the outside, just know that some of these streams will be shut down. The overflow room is drboycetv.com in case you can't get in. But if you want to come in and actually join the chat, go to blackrealestateweekend.com. That's blackrealestateweekend.com. So let me ask my team, are we ready? Is Mr. DeBerry ready?
Boyce, you need to pass
yes
the
or no in the chat if you guys, because I don't want to actually hit the wrong button or anything. And,
Boyce, can you hear me?
So let me know if Mr. Berry's ready, and I'll go ahead and pass the mic on. Okay, my brother's
Boyce,
waiting.
are you there?
I think that means that she is ready.
No, can you hear?
We hear you.
She's not ready.
I don't know if Boyce.
No, can you hear? Can you hear, Boyce?
He's doing this. I have no idea what he's saying. So hold on.
That's because I know people can hear me. Boyce can't hear me. So
yeah, you know what? I didn't have my mic. I turned my mic off. See, that was what happens when I get the Holy Ghost. I got the Holy Ghost. So my bad. Okay, so what should I have heard that I did not hear?
Pass the control over to Taryn, please.
Okay, got it. All right, I'm passing the mic right now. And that's so funny. Wardrobe malfunctions or something. All right. So you good, Lawrence? You got it?
Yep, we're good to go. So Stephany,
all right. So I'm gonna cut my feed off and let you all take over. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll be chiming back in again real soon. See you soon. Have a great weekend.
All right, so we'll be bringing up Stephany here in 1 moment.
Hey
everyone.
Hey.
Hey, Stephany. How are you doing?
I'm good. Lawrence, how are you?
I'm doing excellent.
I see Carmelita's on, Joyce. Okay.
All right. Well, the floor is yours. So, yep.
Good morning, everyone. Grand Rising. Welcome to the inaugural Black Real Estate Weekend. You could have been anywhere this holiday weekend, but you are here with us and we're so excited. You could have been spending money, as Dr. Boyce talked about just a couple seconds ago, but you're not. You're here getting empowered. You're here to learn more about real estate and how it can help you reach your goals for 2021. So just a little bit about me. My name is Stephany DeBerry. I am from the Washington, D.C. metro area, been here 30 years. I'm a full-time real estate agent, coach, and mentor. I enjoy what I do. I'm passionate about our folks in particular, getting homes and making investments in the real estate industry. This weekend, we are bringing you amazing experts, professionals, leading industry leaders of color. While you're here, engage with us, right? Ask questions. Do not have all these folks in front of you without taking advantage. We are here for you. So without further ado, a couple little housekeeping notes. Some of these folks have extensive bios. We would be here all day with all of their accomplishments. I will read from some of their bios to give you a better understanding of who they are and why they are in front of you. However, do your due diligence. If there's someone you want to connect with, learn more about, make sure to follow up with them. At this point, I would like to bring forward or introduce you all to an amazing woman in real estate. Her name is Chandra Ware. Chandra is an inspiration to many across the country, and you will soon learn why. Chandra Ware was born and raised in the heart of South Central Los Angeles, and that's where she began her experience in real estate. She was unknowingly being groomed to become a real estate investor at an early age by assisting her mother in managing a triplex that she owned, and during the summer by accompanying her aunt in Dallas, Texas to collect rents from tenants and several apartment complexes and laundromats that her aunt also owned. In 1985, Chandra began her career with the California Department of Corrections, where she began to dabble in real estate, but this time as an owner, where she owned 4 homes. In 1999, a car accident changed her life, but it was for a positive life change. This catapulted her into becoming a big-time investor. By the age of 40, Chandra had purchased 13 homes, of which she still owns 8, with 2 being in California, 6 in Texas. She also manages over 20 properties for friends and clients in Texas. She is now running her own real estate firm, Sapphire Realty, where she supervises 17 agents, 2 of which are her own twin daughters. Chandra is motivated to assist others in becoming homeowners and building generational wealth, which is the legacy, which is why we're here this weekend, that her mother instilled in her at an early age. Good morning, Chandra.
Good morning, Stephany. How are you?
I am good. I am good. Thank you so much for joining us on this morning. I'm so excited to have you on. I know a little bit, but we want to share your experience. We want to share your background and any other thing that you feel is important for folks that are listening. People on this platform this morning, Chandra, are some interested in investing, which you are an investor. Some are interested in real estate as a career path and different aspects of real estate that they can get into. And some are interested in both. And so you do both and then some. And so that's exactly what we want to talk about this morning. So I want to jump right in because you mentioned it in your bio, and I was already thinking that your story is one of generational wealth. So can you give us just a little background on what your mom had set up for you and how you have taken that and moved forward and created a legacy and creating a legacy for your daughters and your family?
Okay. I first want to start off with my mom, who I miss dearly. My mother was an entertainer. She was an international entertainer, as I call her, my G.I. Jane of all trades. Again, being born in South Central Los Angeles, we saw a lot, but because of my mother's background, and actually she was a WAC in the military, so that kind of gives her or gives me that go get it and that stern, I'm not gonna say go that stern, but that go get it mentality. And I just watched her throughout the years, being her own entertainer, having her own record label, and then also purchasing her own properties. And, we say use the tools that are given to us. Even though my mother was in the military, for whatever reason, she was not able to use her VA benefits to purchase her home. So she had a Jewish family who helped her. They purchased the homes and then they did an owner finance. So that's how she became a homeowner in South Central Los Angeles. And then during that time, I just watched, and I didn't say everything. Even though she was a property owner, she was also her own handy woman. So that's why when I say I was reared to become an investor and a property owner and what have you, that lady put me in, I mean, from repairing roofs to ceilings to plumbing and things like that. So, and then going out to Texas and assisting my aunt out there with their properties and laundromats and things of that sort. So Vessie, who is my mother, she pushed us. And, you know, even to this day, I go back into my community and help those who at that time, you know, life was on a different track, but we always have that time to reel each other back in. And that's what I do to help build generational wealth. Even to our colleagues and our friends who went to prison. That's another niche that I've pulled into, that I go back
so we're going to talk about that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, that's my background. And then graduating from high school and then on to college, I went into started working for the California Department of Corrections. Ended up working there for 20 years. So I thought I was going to be there till I was 50, but the good Lord said otherwise. I had the car accident, which ended my career. But like I said before, it was not a negative move for me. It was a positive move because I retired at the age of 41 years old, but it gave me the opportunity to come out here and help a lot more people, be it ex-offenders, people who've never been in trouble before. So I thank God for that move. I'm still able to do what I want to do. I just can't go work in the prison system anymore. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so the fact that your mom, she, you know, pretty much thrust you into becoming an investor. And at the time, I'm sure you didn't even realize when you were a child what was going on. But of course, right, you've gotten the benefit of that. But when did you decide, and this could have been after your accident, that you wanted not only to become an investor, but to get involved with real estate as a career path? When did that happen?
In about 2003, a friend of mine, actually a colleague, came to work and said, hey, I need you to get an airline ticket and to Houston, Texas, and I need you to go out here and see what I'm doing. I said, no problem. I flew out to Texas, and he was purchasing properties. At that time, he was purchasing HUD properties. And I'm like, I can do this. And, you know, being from California, seeing the prices, I'm like, oh, we can buy 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So I came out, watched what he was doing, and then that's really what thrust me into real estate, because the prices were so low here that we had the opportunity. I mean, we were, and you know, HUD homes. These were foreclosed homes. Well, HUD homes, and we had, I mean, homes $80,000, 2,400 square feet. 2,200 square feet, $105,000. So we're like, this is something that we need to do. And especially because I was retired, and even though the state of California takes care of me, I still had to put myself and my family in a position that we were still continuing to live the lifestyle as we were when I was working. So, you know, I'm like, hey, real estate is what I can do. I didn't, and I hate to say, and not to knock those who are secretaries and things like that and paralegals. I went to school for that, doing my training while going through rehab. And I'm like, nah, that's not for me. And because of the type of injury I had, I couldn't do a 9-to-5. So real estate is really is my focus, and that's been the best thing. That's been the best choice that I've ever made in my life. So it's go ahead.
No, you go.
So it's been very lucrative. It's been very fun, and I'm not going to say it has its challenges, but
we're going to talk about that because we want to keep it real. The realities of real estate and the African American experience in real estate. So we want folks to know, while it can be great, you can make, you know, good money, whether you're in a career or as an investor. There's still obstacles. There's still sometimes bad investment. Anything can happen.
Yes,
right?
and it you know, and coming out here, it was, like I said, it was a blessing. We ended up bringing over 50 of our colleagues out here to buy. And that's how I end up, my brother and I ended up managing over 50 properties out here, and people purchasing over 100 or so properties. So real estate was a blessing. And I am thankful for the individual, Vernon, who came to the office that day and said, hey, pack your bags and flow out here to Houston with me.
Opportunity, right? Sometimes we have to take that leap. So I do want folks to know, we see your questions coming up. Chandra, people are thankful for your story. We will answer questions as we get towards the end of this segment. Chandra's going to join me till about 11:30 or so. So we will try to address as many questions as possible. So I want you to know, we see you guys.
Open book.
Right, open book. And that's what we want. We want the transparency, because I know for me, I'm so glad that Dr. Boyce, the Black Business School team, put this together, because I know when I became an agent just 15 years ago, and I got licensed in Northern Virginia in a predominantly white county, Loudoun County, one of the, I don't know, they say one of the richest counties in the country. I didn't have anyone that I could go to that looked like me. In my Long and Foster office, which is a major brokerage here, is a big box brokerage, there was one other woman of color, but she was kind of fading out of her business. You know how this goes. People can be in real estate a long time, and then they decide to transition into other things. So I never had that mentorship that I was looking for. Finally, over the last several years, it's taken a long time, to be 15 years in January, I've gotten that, and I've seen and exposed myself, as Dr. Boyce said. The resources are here. We have to put ourselves in front of the people that can help us. Yes. And so all these folks online this morning and in the overflow, feels like church, in the overflow room, they are putting themselves in front of folks that can help them. So back to you, Chandra, as it relates to being an agent. Okay, so we have some folks on here that are getting licensed, thinking about getting licensed. Give them the process. Now, we know every state jurisdiction is different. You are in Texas. Were you licensed in Texas first or California?
I was licensed in California first.
Okay, so share with us the process to become an agent. Disclaimer, guys, again, please check with your local licensing boards. Every state jurisdiction is different. However, there are some similarities, right? Most of us have to take a class, get licensed. Can you share that process, Chandra, with getting your real estate license? And then we'll talk about what it takes to become a broker.
Yes. Well, I know in California, pretty much California and Texas were pretty much the same. Okay. You go through the School of Real Estate, if you like. California, I went through, I think it was Atlantis School of Real Estate. Texas, I went through Champion School of Real Estate. Okay. And pretty much this process was still the same. And then once you pass those tests, now in California, I am going to say, I'm not going to say it's a harder test. It's just that California talks in those these, thous, and those.
So the legally, okay.
The legally language. So, and Texas was just, you know, it was a more simplified testing process. Okay. I did pass both of them. California, I passed on the second go round. Texas, I passed on the first go round.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that. Thank you for mentioning that, because for folks that are ready to take their exam or considering, it's okay, right? If you don't pass on the first time, it's actually pretty common that people do not pass on the first time. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. Many of us are going into an entirely new industry. Just keep going. A word of encouragement. You're a broker, you're extremely successful. You took it again, you passed. So we just want to let folks know it can happen. Keep going.
And I would say, don't read into the question. I mean, really, the real estate questions are simplistic, but don't over read into it, because then that's when you'll mess yourself up.
Someone said it took them 3 times, but you passed. Daydrian, Exactly.
Yeah, look, and that sounds like my daughter. And
third time's a charm.
Yes,
third time's a charm.
But you know what? And you have to take the positive out of that, because that means that you've really mastered that book. If you have to take it again and again and again, that means you had to go back and repeat and repeat and reread and what have you. But I mean, it's, and some people are not testers.
That's the truth.
Some people are not test takers.
For many of us, right.
And I can tell you, with me, one thing that I did do with my testing, I'm not a person that goes and read the book verbatim. I went through the book and I answered the questions first, because I feel that if you have to search for the questions, you're going to retain it more so than reading something that you're really not familiar with anyway. And then I went back when I set myself up, when I set my my appointments up to go and actually take the test. Then that's when I went back and reread the entire book. So by the time I was ready to take the state test, I was done and I was familiar with everything that was in that book.
Yeah, I still have my books from 15 years. Like, I still have them. It could be reference. Of course, certain things in real estate have, changed, but some of the basics. So you passed in California and Texas. Now, how long? Because again, guys, every state jurisdiction is different. Chandra's just sharing her experience.
Yes.
Make sure to check with your local licensing boards for your state. How long did it take, or what's the requirements once you're an agent to become a broker, meaning you have your own firm?
Yes. The requirements are a little bit different now from when I took it. When I took it, you only had to have your real estate license for 4 years. Okay. Now you have to have your real estate license, I think, for 4 or 5 years, but you also have to have the sales. You also have to have the sales credit. And
now that's interesting. So it's not just you can be a real estate agent or realtor. We'll get into that in a minute, because people use it interchangeably, and every agent is not a realtor. But every realtor is an agent. So, so now they're saying you can't just be educated as an agent, at least in Texas anyway. You have to have some sales. You have to have some transactions. What is do you remember the volume of transactions that you need?
I don't, if I'm not mistaken now, it may be 2,500 points or something like that. I'm not sure, because I've had my broker's license now since 2010.
Okay. So again, that's something that folks can look into, and points may equate to millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, something like that.
And I know that they've added, and even just recently, they've added more classes on.
Right.
So but again, just because we're saying this, do not allow this to deter you from becoming a broker, because I mean, it's, the more the more requirements that they require, it just means the more educated you are, and the better you can serve your community as well as your agents. So don't run from that.
Exactly. And I was going to ask you that, or lead into that, being a woman of color and having your own broker. But something you mentioned as well, the education piece, I think, and you're a broker, so you can speak on this. A lot of times, agents or folks that want to be agents, they're watching television. They may have friends that are agents or family members. They don't always realize the full scope of what goes into becoming an agent. A lot of times we clue in on the income, right? Because as you said, it can be lucrative. Dr. Boyce said it can be lucrative. Everybody knows that. But we want to give people the real deal. As Carmelita Turner said, the real deal. She's the realest realtor. What that is actually like. How do we work? Share with folks what real estate really is day in and day out as an agent and a broker that oversees agents.
Okay, now as an agent, I like I said, I have 17 agents right now, and the agents know, and even me as an agent, and I've experienced, you can get to the table and your deal folds for whatever reason. I had one client that we got to the table and he was signing, and then he said, what about my wife? She's not signing anything? We're like, when you get married? Last week. Well, people don't know that once your marital status changes and that person was not included in that process, that transaction stops right then and there, because now they have to go back and include that person's income, credit, or what have you. You can have clients that before you even get to the table, they went and charged up something. Guess what? Debt ratios
we get that all
sky high. So, you know, and it's life skills, but as a real estate professional, real estate agent, even a real estate broker, we have to make sure that we educate our clients before, during, and after the process, because in educating them before, you don't want them to go out there and make the mistake that will disqualify them from buying. And then educating them during, you don't want to have them to make the mistake that will knock them out of their transaction.
Right.
Excuse me. And then educating them after is just the maintenance of maintaining their property. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of scenarios that can cause a deal to bust, but it's just, it's on us as a real estate professional to make sure that we are well versed in our profession so that we can relay that information on to our clients. Now, you will have some clients that don't want to listen to you, or they're listening to Auntie Mamie over here who purchased a house 30 years ago, or cousin over here who hasn't purchased a house at all. So you have to learn how to reel your client in and keep them on the right track. Some people, you know, my old broker, Andrea Clixie, she calls me the warden because of my background, because I'll hold a person to the paper and, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Well, Chandra, I don't want to do that. Well, no. We have to stay on the track if you want to purchase your home. So, you know, as a real estate professional, we have those other titles behind us called counselor, marriage counselor, because we become all of that in the real estate profession.
Warrior for some
Prayer
folks.
Warriors, yes.
Mediator between spouses or significant others.
Yes.
You know what that's like, going into a property, she likes it, he doesn't like it. I've been brought into situations, I'm like, come on, y'all, don't bring me into the middle of this. But there's all types of situations that folks, unless they are out shadowing us or with us, they don't know how involved we are in this process. And go ahead.
And real estate, and keep in mind, this is not a 9-to-5 job. It's not a 9-to-5. You're going to have times where, you know, you may be out eating dinner and your phone rings and your client calls. Unless you're one of those $1 million producers, you're going to have to answer that phone. So you're going to have to keep your family, I wouldn't say keep your family, but inform your family of the type of profession that you are now in. You know, it's again, it's a lucrative business, but there takes a sacrifice.
Yes. I think as with anything that has payoffs, right? We have to sacrifice. And I am seeing some of the comments, and we're going to shift now from being an agent, because you have given us some of the real deal of what we go through. And it's a lot of people skills, as you said.
Yes.
I know communication and how we deal with folks is huge. You know, you have some folks that are cell phone savvy. They only want you to text them. You have others, you need to email. I like to talk to my clients on the phone. You have to learn how to adapt to your clients. I think that's just one aspect of being a great agent. Another thing you said, education is so important. Once we become licensed as agents, and then if you choose to go on to become a broker, it's constant education, right? Which is a whole nother aspect of this industry as well. You can get into education. You can become an educator. You can have your own real estate school. There's so many lanes, I guess, in real estate. But folks are asking, can you share with us how you transition into becoming a broker, because that is even more so of an entrepreneurial pursuit once you're an agent, right? To go on and say, you know what, I think I have enough to confidence and I can do this to manage a team. So what does that take? What would you say are some characteristics, aspects, things that we should look out for if that's something that we are considering becoming a broker?
If you are considering becoming a broker, you need to make sure that you have the ability to deal with a lot of different personalities. Because being a broker, you know, like, again, I have 17 agents. I have 17 different personalities that I have to deal with. I love them all. We're like a family, but, you know, and you also have to determine on how you're going to run your company, or you're going to run your company as a, as a corporation, as, you know, everything is black and white, or you're going to run your family as, hey, a soft cuddling type brokerage. And with me, the way I run my company, my agents know I call myself the 24/7 hour broker. Because now this is to my agents. If my agents call me at 11 o'clock at night because they have a question, as long as I'm not busy, I'm going to answer that question, because we are a small firm, and I don't want them to go away with, I don't want them to go away without knowing the question or knowing the answer, or I don't want them fumbling over an answer as to where they'll lose a client or they will confuse a client. So they know they can call me at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. I know even one of my agents called and her husband was in the background. He's like, babe, he says, that's good. Every time you call Chandra, she answers.
That is good. That is
and
good.
It makes me feel good because he's aware of what his wife is doing, and he sees the relationship that she has with her broker. Because this young lady, you know, as a broker, you have to deal with different personalities, and you also have to remember you're dealing with different agents, different levels of agents. Now, this particular agent has had her license for a while. She came from a franchise broker, which I'm not going to say, but she was not abreast of her actual responsibility and the protocol of real estate. And she had been working, and now all of a sudden, God has blessed her with 6 transactions like in 1 month. But now she's overwhelmed. And I'm like, you know what, baby girl, don't worry about it. We're going to get through this. Just call me. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And she did it. And when she did have a question, hey, mom, you know, what about this, this, and that? I'm like, okay, baby, this is what you do. This is what you do. So sometimes, you know, Sapphire Realty is a different type of brokerage. Again, like I said, this is a family. I'll kudos my agents, but I also beat up on my agents. If I asked you to do something and you didn't do it, and then you come back and say, well, what about this? Wait a minute, didn't I just tell you to do that last week? Well, yeah, but no. Go back, do what I asked you to do, and then if you can't do it right, then come back and ask me. But you know, it's just, you know, again, you have to know how to work with different personalities. I'm not a crier. I'm not. I don't cater to crying. So I'm like, hey, suck it up. Let's get it going.
Tough
so
love.
you can get your clients. Yes, tough love. Let's get your clients going. We'll talk about this later, but you have something you have to take care of right now.
And you said it. You said your brokerage, right, is run like a family. Yes. And you're a mom, so it makes sense. It sounds, as you were explaining, very nurturing. And you said it. One has to decide how one wants to run their brokerage. Yes. And so that's a question that I want to go into with you as well. The business side, right? Because we're talking about how you deal with your agents and how you want your agents to deal with their clients. like you said, be educated, stay on top of your game. Of course, provide great service. We could spend all day talking about the quality of service we need to provide as agents. Yeah. But what about the business side of running a brokerage? Can you go into that a little bit? Like the financial responsibilities, the liabilities, the not so pretty side, right, of running a brokerage. Can you share that with us just to enlighten folks? Because we want to give them a full understanding.
I have 17 assets. I have 17 liabilities. So business-wise, yes, your agents can be, your company can be lucrative, but you can also lose. When it comes to the company, you want to make sure that budget-wise, you're not putting out more than you're bringing in. You want to market yourself, but you don't want to over-market yourself by over-budgeting. You want to make sure that you have the adequate tools to run your company that you're going to provide for your agents. Now, and especially at this time of year, we're getting calls left to right from these platforms. Well, we can do this for you. We can do that for you. We can market you here. We
always sold something.
Yeah, we're always sold something. And everyone is going to say they're better than the other. Don't be pressured into that, because the next thing you'll know, you've put over $5,000 out in marketing and you haven't even started until the next year. And none of this stuff works. And I'm going to also tell you this too. They will pressure you into it to say, hey, this is, we only have 24 hours to get you this. Well, you know what? I'm not taking your 24 hours. I'm taking 72. So if it passes me by, so be it. But you want to do your due diligence on anything that you do when running your company. Now I have with my twin daughters, they're 35, and so I have the technology office where my daughters are turning the office into a really tech savvy company. Now some of it I like, some of it I don't, because, with the millennials, and like you were saying, Stephany, I'm a pick up the phone type of person. I can text you, I can email you, but I also want to pick up that phone and talk to you. And so I have to gear, especially one of my twins, Mommy, well, I text, baby, pick up the phone sometime, give them that personal touch. We don't always want that microwave response. We want that personal touch. But they're I'm trying to think what else is in the office. You're gonna to run an office. You matter of fact, you're gonna make sure that you do have your attorneys behind you.
Talk about that, because do agents, like the liability, Guy Allen, member of NAREB, he was a broker in the DMV area. And I talked to him quite a bit, and I'm very grateful for Guy, because actually he's how I end up getting connected to NAREB. We'll talk about that later, and eventually you. But he talked about, having to, I just remember one day he was on the road, just having to go to court, like just different things for agents. Now he was overseeing it like an entire state of agents with our brokerage. I was like, oh my gosh, you really spend time doing that? And he said, yes. Agents sometimes get in trouble, not always their fault, or he didn't break it down, but it took a lot of his time to have to fight on behalf of the agents as being a broker. Yeah. So can you talk about that when you said have attorneys and
have an attorney, and really you want an attorney on retainer if possible, because you will get some, before you get the lawsuits, you will get complaints to your board. Well, here is TREC. You will get complaints to TREC. And some of them you can answer, you can respond to on your own. Some of them you may want to have an attorney respond for you. But you always want to make sure that you have your legal representation, because I mean, people will sue you for anything if they can. They can sue you for a paper cut if they can. Now, and now that I say that, you also want to make sure that outside of having your E&O insurance, that you have your general liability insurance. Right now, we're in a different era. Well, we're doing everything remotely now, but you don't want to be in a situation where someone trips and falls or, you know, whatever. You just want to make sure that you're well protected.
Right.
So that's still a part of being a broker, and that's some of the responsibilities, and that's a part of running a successful office, is making sure that you are protected as well as your agents are protected. Because that, at the end of the day, that's your name.
Exactly. Your name, your brand, your livelihood is attached, like you said, to your agents who are under you.
Yes.
So for those of us who aren't in Texas in your area and can't have you necessarily as a broker, what advice would you give agents? Because you know this, you've been an agent for a while. Agents will shift and grow from one brokerage to another. And I don't really think anything is wrong with that. I understand it now. I've done it. It depends on where you are in your business. That's why I never disparage different brokerages. People ask me for advice. I'll give them information on my brokerage if they want it. But at the end of the day, you know, agents move around. What would you share with agents that are looking to align with a broker? What advice would you give them? Like you said, your broker is set up like this. What do agents need to ask, especially some of our newer agents, right, that are uncertain? They just heard that A and B brokerage was great and they're just going to go there. They don't know the questions to ask when they're going on those initial interviews. And I know when I went out, all the brokerages were interested in me, right? It's just what I had to figure out. I had to do my due diligence to see who was the best fit, right? So what advice would you give new agents and those that are making those shifts about where they want to land next? Because sometimes it's not the broker, sometimes it's the agent, but that's a whole other thing.
And for one, as an agent, you need to first know who you are, what type of person you are, and then match yourself to what type of company or broker you want to be mentored by. You can have, and we're fortunate that we can have two different type of brokerages. You can have your franchise brokerage, or you can have your mom and pop brokerage. Now, take in consideration, are you wanting the brand that is already built, and that's with your franchise brokerages? Or do you want the mom and pop brand that you think that doesn't have status within the community? Those are some of the things that you have to look at. Just because you may see a Keller Williams, a Century 21, or a RE/MAX doesn't make them any better than a Sapphire Realty or a DeBerry Real Estate or what have you. You have to do your homework on them. And it just depends. Some people like status. They like, you know, like a Gucci or Coach. Some people just like, you know, the Guess or what have you. So you have to determine what type of brokerage you want to be with. You want to also interview those brokers. Interview the agents that's with those brokers. Because, you know, I can tell you all about myself, but I may have an agent in the background that says, you know what, I really don't like her. Or you may have an agent in the background that's there and say, you know what, this is what she is, this is what she's about, but if you don't do this, this is what she's going to do. So you want to make sure that you do your homework, or as we say, do your due diligence before you sign up with a broker. And again, check the track record. You can check on track and see if there's any complaints against that brokerage. Because you want to make sure at the end of the day that you're covered.
Exactly.
And you're going to, and if that's someplace that you want to be for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, that you're comfortable there. Not to say that you have to stay, because you don't, but you just want to make sure that that's a fit for you, and don't be forced into something that you don't want to be in.
Exactly. And one other question I have for you, Chandra, or two really quickly. I think realistic expectations, because we're going to shift into another aspect of the conversation, realistic expectations for the new agent and even some of our seasoned, because we know you can be an agent and not productive, right? Life happens. People have a lot going on. That's why I tell folks, we can't compare ourselves to other agents. We can seek inspiration from them, but you're in your own lane, and real estate is so vast, right? Be inspired by all these amazing people this weekend, folks, but don't feel like you're doing less than, right? I always say we're where we're supposed to be. But what would you say to agents who are expecting their brokers to put them on pretty much to do the work? I think a lot of times folks don't realize you have got to hustle. And many of us have the hustle in us, but they don't realize how much of your own marketing, money, your database, your connections go into. It's not you're always going to brokers and they're giving you leads, they're giving you business. It doesn't work like that. You may get an occasional lead, but you should not set yourself up like that. Can you speak to that for some of our newer folks that are just thinking their broker, it's like a job. This is not a job.
That's what I was getting ready to say. You have to understand, as a real estate professional, you are a contractor. You are not an employee. So therefore, we're not going to hand feed you. We will assist you. We will give you a lead here or there, but at the end of the day, you're your own self-employee. So you have to go out there and make that phone ring. And when I say make that phone ring, that's by marketing yourself, not being that undercover agent, because being an undercover agent is not going to get that phone ring.
Secret agent.
That secret agent. Yeah, you can't be a secret agent.
Yeah, and it takes time.
Yes, and the key word is that
it takes time sometimes to get the phone to ring.
Yes, and the key word is that you are self-employed. You are a contract. Remember that piece of paper that we signed? We sponsored you. We didn't employ you.
Yes, there are some brokers that do, right? But a good majority do not. And we can discuss that later in the programming. And before we transition, because something you said earlier is going to lead us into the next aspect of why I want you to discuss being a broker and having a team. How did you get, one thing we didn't mention in your bio is you became an agent, broker, you were an investor, agent, broker, but now you are the president of the Women's Council of NAREB. Can you speak a little bit about NAREB, the Women's Council? We'll have Antoine on later, but the significance of the organization, what it has done for you and other women and men supporters, right, of the Women's Council, because there are folks on here that are agents or industry professionals and they don't know anything about our amazing organization.
The Women's Council of NAREB, or NAREB. The Women's Council of NAREB was established in 1971 as one of the largest affiliates of NAREB. And our mission, our main mission, is financial literacy and homebuyer education. We focus on and educating our community so that they can be well informed in the process of home buying, of becoming home buyers. In conjunction with that, we are actually the community service arm of NAREB. Right now, we have 16 or 17 chapters that I am over throughout the country. We have chapters in California, of course, Houston, Atlanta, Georgia, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland. Let's not forget the DMV. Miss Stephany DeBerry is the president there. And we do a lot within the community. Here in Houston, we've done a Silver Santa. Now take it. I'm the national president. Every chapter has its own president, and typically they run the same as the national, and that's a 2-year term. So I'm finishing up my 2-year term in July of 21. And during this time, you may come up with your initiative, your own initiatives, or you may continue the initiative of previous presidents. Like right now, we're in the middle of an initiative for one of our previous presidents, Rolanda Wilson, who started FIRM, which is an entrepreneurship program. And we've just adopted the the Boys and Girls Club in Oakland, California, where we'll be educating youth on alternative careers for those who don't want to go to college, because college is not for everyone. So we're focusing on them, and we've donated them or blessed them with a substantial amount of money to put these classes on for those. We're going into an alternative high school out there. So that will give them the opportunity to see what other avenues or what other choices they have in life to become successful outside of going to college. Then you have each chapter does their own home buyer and financial literacy programs. We're also teamed up with Freddie Mac, where we do the Credit Smart. So, you know, Women's Council is a very, very important aspect of NAREB, and it's a very important aspect or tool for the community. So for those who would like to join Women's Council, you don't have to be a real estate professional. You just have to believe in the mission. But if you are a real estate professional, you have to be a member of NAREB in order to be a member of Women's Council. And I am actually the 25th president.
And that's amazing. I remember when I met you in Miami, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love for this to be in the DMV. And you were like, no problem. You connected me with Sharon, and now we're here. And that's a huge benefit too of being connected to NAREB and the Women's Council. For everybody watching, we'll get more into that later, is the relationships. 3 years ago, my real estate business changed because I got involved with an organization that does do community service, which is a part of so many of us. We want to give back. We want to go back to our old neighborhoods. I want to buy property in upstate New York, where I'm from. I want to get into affordable housing. So it's at the core of who we are. We do community as well as professional development. So here in the DMV, because we were new, we focused a lot initially on the professional, just trying to get other women and men acclimated, introduce ourselves in this area, because again, Women's Council never existed here. And so 2021. And one other thing before we go into questions, because we have tons of questions for you, Chandra, I wanted to talk briefly. You mentioned earlier, real estate is not a 9-to-5 job. And so I had done my research. I had been this type of agent. We like to say dual career, side hustle. We have all these different versions of someone who may have another job or business that also is trying to pursue a career in real estate. I know firsthand that it can definitely be done. I know also, based on our research, that more African Americans enter real estate as dual career agents. I think that has a lot to do with just being able financially sometimes to take the leap, right? It's hard to walk away from a good, in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, good government jobs we got here, right? It's hard to walk away. It's hard sometimes. And so people have to transition out of their jobs and into full-fledged real estate. What can you say, what encouragement can you provide for those that have to balance both, and how to do that well? Because even though you have to balance both, what I've learned, because I've had to do it, is that your clients, they don't expect to hear from you like this is a side hustle. They want you when they want you. They need your attention when they need your attention. And they're always looking at that bottom line, you know how they do, of how much you're going to earn from their transaction, and rightfully so. But what can you share with us and for those that are struggling with entering this as a dual career agent and those that are doing it right now?
I can say entering it as a dual career agent, it is going to be challenging at times. But one thing you might want to do is get your partner. Get your office partner. You can set up a relationship with an individual who may just show for you. Like I have one now who's with another company, and she assists me or I'll assist her in some of her closing transactions. And yes, and I'm a broker doing that. But as an agent, partner up with someone that you can trust, and you guys both have the same vibe, and work it that way. Now, it can be challenging at times, but it's something that if you really want it, you just have to sacrifice and do it. And I'm gonna tell you, families will help you out a lot. Your family will help you a lot if it comes down to it. My daughters are agents as well, and if I can't show, they'll go and show for me. Now, some states won't allow you if you're not real estate professional, but my daughters are. Some states will allow you to have assistance, but you have to get with your broker to see and make sure that your particular state will allow you to have an assistant that's a non-real estate professional. But I mean, it's balancing, but you just have to determine how important it is to you. And like you said, it can be lucrative, and sometimes the dollar will outweigh the work and the balancing. You just have to get it done. So, I mean, with me, it's kind of hard for me to answer that question because I'm Bessie's daughter. So
you just find a way.
I'll find a way.
Yeah. And I think so many of us are resourceful enough to do that. And like you said, teamwork, we cannot do this on our own. And as the program goes on, guys, today we're going to talk to other professional partners that help us through these transactions that we need and they need us to balance off how we do business. But it definitely is teamwork. But I didn't want folks, because I was doing some NAR research and realized, wow, a lot of us do enter into this field that way and sometimes need that encouragement, because a lot of old school folks, maybe not you, but old school folks are like, I'm full-time. You can't do this. They will get that in their offices. I've seen that.
Now, you know what, Stephanie, what I also like now in my office, we have a few new agents that have been agents less than 6 months. And what I tell my agents, hey, team up with one of the newer agents, even if you have to give them a percentage of your commission, because now you're allowing them to learn, but you're also being allowed to maintain your client because you have an assistant who is a licensed agent assisting you.
Right. Right. And we can do more together. It's just how we figure this out. And something you said, the money will come. We don't have to chase it. We all know this, right? The money will come to us, but we have to do our jobs. We have to provide great service too, though. We can't slack on our service because you already know we got to work 10 times as hard as some of our counterparts to get even close to the same deal. But we'll talk more about that later. There are so many questions for you, Chandra. I can't even keep up. So this is teamwork right now.
Yes.
There's Carmelita Turner. She is the realtor. I always tell her that. Here in the DM, she is going to ask the questions. We're going to get these questions because folks have plenty of them. Carmelita, can you hear us?
I can hear you both just fine. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you, Carmelita.
And let me say, I wanted to come in here correct. So good morning, Madame and Madame.
Good morning.
All right now.
Good morning.
And you all, that's right, that part. You all actually answered one of our participant questions because they wanted to know who are these realtors. So Chandra, you did a beautiful explanation about NAREB, because I think historically it is important to know that although we all are realtors, we're also realtists, because there was a time when we were not allowed in national associations and brokerages as Blacks.
And Carmelita, let's give them a true sense of when we were not allowed.
Go ahead with it, man.
That far back. 1947 is when NAREB was established, because they would not allow African Americans to become realtors. So therefore, we could not represent our communities.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. And I think that is so important for people to hear. We are B1 here, Black First, and we are unapologetically supportive of our community and progressing not just the knowledge, but also their professional and personal outcomes. So thank you both for that. So yeah, teamwork is about to make this dream work. So I'm going to rapid fire some of these questions. And let me say to the audience, we are not possibly going to get through all of these questions during this session, but please do not despair. There will be multiple sessions throughout the weekend. And at some point, I am sure many of these questions will be touched upon because there is a plethora of information that will come through over these next 2 days. So thank you all for bearing with us. I'm going to go back, ladies, to a question that kind of came in this early this morning. Miss Gwen, she was so excited to be here. Thank you, Gwen. She was one of the first people in the room and asked a question. She was actually, ladies, asking about just pros and cons of acquiring properties by using tax liens or acquiring tax deed properties. And we know that in every state, some of those laws are different. But if you just wanted to briefly speak to Ms. Gwen as that being an avenue for income generation for her and her family.
I would say here in Houston, for one, I don't see a problem with acquiring tax lien properties or tax default properties. The only thing you need to know, I'm not going to say the only thing, but one of the most important things that you need to know is that right of, what's the word?
Rescission?
Not rescission, when they can come back and get their property.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking. Yes, they can.
And depending on the type of property that it is, if it's a owner-occupant property, I think they have up to a year.
Redemption,
right? A redemption. If it's an owner-occupied or primary residence, I think they have up to a year or 2 years, something like that. But if it's an investment property, then I believe here it was 6 months. So what that means is that no matter what you put into it, if they come back, they can actually ask to redeem their property, but not with what you purchased it for. I think is what you purchased it for plus 20%. But realistically, if it takes the counties and the cities a while to foreclose on that property, so I think if they haven't come back in 3, 4, and 5 years to redeem it, I very doubt seriously they're going to come back. But that is one of the caveats that you have to keep in mind in purchasing tax default property. But other than that, you got a real good price on the property because pretty much you're only paying for what the delinquent taxes were owed on it.
Correct. And I think the important part is your due diligence, as you all have talked about a great deal this morning, doing that research. That's interesting, Chandra. What region in Texas are you in? Someone was asking, but now I'm curious once you just said that 6-month time frame.
I'm in Houston.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's why. Yeah, because that's interesting on the investment properties. But do your due diligence. You need to know what the laws are in your own specific state. But that definitely, Ms. Gwen, is something that you can consider.
They do change.
They do change. Yes, they absolutely do. Okay, we have another person from the DMV region, and they said, unfortunately, we're sorry to hear this. Their mom died last month. And they're in the midst of trying to avoid what Stephany and I see every day here in our area, just the gentrification and exploitation of many of the neighborhoods here in the DMV. And they were asking, how can they gain capital to purchase their family's legacy home?
But if there wasn't a will or anything left, or if it was their mom's property, that should be heirship property.
Yeah, it seems there. I was looking for more of an explanation in the questions. It doesn't have any additional information. A lot of what has been happening is that many times when there hasn't been a will and these then go over to probate, people are not knowledgeable and they are then in turn missing out because, as you know, Chandra and Stephany, these investors are very knowledgeable. So they know how to go around and usurp those avenues.
One thing I want to say, and it's speaking on, I know all communities do it, but on our community, for one, don't be pressured into selling. Do your due diligence first. I can vouch, or actually we are an example of it. When my mom passed, unfortunately, the day my mother passed was the same day that she went to the bank to get her living trust. But we didn't get the paperwork done. But because I was the middle child and I've always watched my mother, I was able to stop everything. Did our probate and was able to maintain the properties. However, but the loan sharks were at the door, and tell them, they're going to give them, we look at cash money as king, and the investor knows the parents' property may be worth $300,000. The investor may come in off from 150. Don't go for that. And I look at it like this, and my philosophy is, if mom and daddy hadn't died, you wouldn't have it now anyway. So why be so quick to sell it?
Good point.
Why be so quick to get the cash? So take the time, do your due diligence, seek out. Matter of fact, you have a whole bunch of NAREB members that can assist you.
Yes. Yes.
But don't be so quick to sell it. Reach out to an attorney, a family attorney, someone that you can trust, or you think you can trust.
And I think that also answers Gail Wright's question as well about, how do you pass your property if you have no heirs? No heirs. One of the biggest travesties is that we are seeing family land properties lost time and time again, especially in the Black community. And Chandra said it best: seek out professionals that look like you, who understand where you are, and their mission is to serve and assist you. Reach out to NAREB. You can go to the NAREB website and find a member in your area. It's a phone call away. We encourage you to do those things. They can connect you with professionals, legal help, people that can help you understand that. And Chandra also spoke to being proactive, getting those wills in place, living wills, things of that nature. We all think that we have forever to do those things, but that is not always the case. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. So you never know, when you'll need those things to be in place. So I think that also takes care of Gail's question. We have we have several questions here, but I'm trying to be fair. What would you recommend? I'm going to combine a few questions. They're asking about real estate advice currently during this pandemic. And then would you recommend buying property before you retire or during this pandemic as well?
I would say buy property whenever you can. I mean, sometimes, this pandemic, if you can afford to buy. I mean, next year, we may see a little bit of change, but things still balance themselves out. Our rates are lower, our properties are maybe a little bit lower, or they may have stayed. Actually, property values are up, but the rates are lower. We may get into 2021, the rates may be up and the property values are lower. So, it's pretty much where your finances are right now. And if you can afford to buy it, I would say buy it. Just again, do your due diligence. There's a lot of foreclosures coming on the market right now. There's short sales on the market right now. You just have to get with a real estate professional that is going to do his or her due diligence for you and not just try to put you in anything. You want them to do a specific search for you, be it short sales, be it foreclosures, be it tax lien properties, whatever it is, but any time is a good time to buy real estate.
Amen.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm going to address KDH ladies. They were asking about buying property sub 2 versus going through the banks and or private investors. That specific drill down, we won't address in this particular session. However, KDH, I encourage you to keep coming back over throughout the weekend, because that will be touched on, especially when we have folks like Julian Gordon coming through. But purchasing property sub 2 is a more specific conversation. And there are many courses that we've done here in the Black Business School. We actually just wrapped up, Stephany and Chandra, our real estate wholesaling course, which was absolutely phenomenal. So there are a lot of resources within the Black Business School, KBH. And actually, we do have something coming down the wire that will speak to subject to properties, but that's just a alternative financing opportunity for purchasing property without needing much money up front. So we'll address that at a later time. Okay, ladies, let's see. We have someone that says they live in an HOA community and they're looking to move next year. They wanted to know, would it be best to sell or rent out their home? And well, Chandra, this will be interesting. They use their military benefits to purchase the home that they have currently. What would you ladies advise to Marion?
You want to answer that, Stephany, or you want me?
She said because she lives in a community with an HOA considering selling and she has a VA.
She used, so she wants to know, would it be best to sell or would it be best to rent out that home? And she did use her military, and I say she used some of her military benefits because there's always, it depends on how much she used to purchase that original home.
Exactly. Well, I would say it really depends on their financial situation, right? What I would do, my initial advice would probably be to speak with the lender, right? To see if they can hold on to the property and purchase another. Like, that's what I would do. If I could hold on and rent or sell, just depends on the numbers. That's what I'm thinking more than anything, because it could kind of work either way, depending on how much equity they have in the house and they want to sell and move on to their dream home or forever home, or do they want to start a portfolio, right, of investing, and they maybe can move on to something not as grand, but still have the best of both worlds. That's an individual decision, but I would definitely start with the lender. And HOA, she brought that up, the person asking the question, a good majority, I shouldn't say majority, but a large amount of properties, especially subdivisions, and I can only speak for the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, are located in HOAs. I know some folks don't like it, but HOA also helps to maintain communities. So you do have to pay to live in some of these communities. So it's not always a negative. I would think, and this is another thing I always say to folks, if you have issues, get involved. Like, especially my new buyers, when I'm talking to them and they're ready to buy, if their community does have an HOA, you need to be on the board. You need to be active, right? Don't just put out your money every month or every other month or, a couple times a year. Make sure you're involved. It doesn't have to be a negative. So I wasn't sure where she was coming from with that, but I would definitely speak to a lender, because then they'll know their options, right? And especially as it relates to, can they continue on to use their VA? And that could also pertain to where they want to move to. Are they staying local? Are they going somewhere else? So there's a lot of other variables with that. And I hope that makes sense.
and I want to piggyback off of you, especially with us being in the Black Business School. If you can retain the property and purchase another one, remember, we're about building our generational wealth.
That's right. That's
right. Yeah.
Good point. Very good point. So I think that leads us to this next question. You all are just segueing right into these questions. All right. So this is from Danny, and it's actually probably going to answer some questions from many people. They were asking if you all have any suggestions on research or baseline requirements for those of us that did not get exposed to financial education within our families and are only just beginning to put our credit and dollars together. Also, Danny asked, is it suggested to be licensed before investing? I'm so glad Danny asked that question, because that is what this weekend is about. That is what the Black Business School is about. And I hope that you all are able to share some knowledge with Danny.
I can say the one question that Danny asked, if it's better to be licensed to be an investor, it just depends. And I'm going to give you two scenarios. Once you become licensed, you're held at a higher standard.
Right.
However, to be licensed, then you can also utilize that commission towards your purchase, as long as it's disclosed in the contract. It just depends on how involved you want to be in that transaction and how much liability you want or do not want.
Very true.
And I would say, look, we saw you were an investor before you became an agent. That's a very personal question, has some variables with that. You just mentioned, Chandra, purchased my first home, a townhome in the DMV, using some of my commission. So I always say it's my primary residence right now, but it will be my first investment property as I move on. So again, it depends on that person's situation, but you don't have to be licensed to be an investor, right? You don't have to be, but I think too, you can definitely get more acclimated in the industry, more connections, possibly even made aware of the many resources that we have available to us to help you as an investor. And I just saw, Carmelita, somebody bring up a great point about the other question we had prior, the woman with the HOA.
Yes.
She also needs to check into her HOA, because some communities, especially like condos, they have an investor ratio. Can she rent her property, right? Some communities allow, some don't. So she may want to look into that as well. Somebody just put that in the chat.
Oh, okay. I can't see the chat and the question. So that was a good point. And I think, Danny, you are looking at a representation of where you can start even getting that additional information, whether it is reaching out to members of NAREB, Women's Council, the Black Business School courses, any of those things, because this is not innate knowledge. We were not born knowing these things. And that is why it's important that you show up to weekends like this to get the valuable information. So I'm so glad that you asked that question, Danny, and thank you for that question. Okay, we have another question. I want to combine a few of these. Someone was asking about, and I think this went back to when Chandra was maybe describing becoming a broker. Some people have just been asking about, is it the relevancy of becoming an agent, a broker versus an investor? Do you recommend becoming a real estate agent if you really want that as a profession, or is there another reason for doing that? So they're looking for a distinction between agent, broker, and I guess the benefit of one over the other. And some other questions alluded to that as well. Actually, one person even asked, do brokers make more money than agents? I chuckled at that one, but I'm gonna let you all run with that. So we'll kind of combine those answers.
That's a good one, man, and Chandra.
it all depends.
Right.
It just depends. Yes, remember, we have an inside joke. I became a broker to be broke. But no.
I said that.
But really, you have to remember, as being a broker, yes, you have all the agents that you're going to get a percentage of their commission because you're taking on the responsibility of sponsoring them. However, on your commissions that you do earn, you do have overhead. So remember, I said a while back, be careful of your expenses within your business, because your business expenses also plays into your bottom line as to what your agents make for you. So, I mean, it's a benefit. Your brokerage, your agents can make the money for you as a form of retirement. With me, I'm a working broker. I'm just that crazy type of person. I'm too young. I'm in the old person school, but I'm still that young person. So I have to stay busy. So I still work and do my own commissions, but I do have my agents that work for me. And yes, I do get a percentage of their commissions. And it just depends on what a person wants. You can determine on how much you make. You can determine on how little you make. It just depends on you. Pretty much, I didn't become a broker just to make the money. I became a broker because I had family and friends who wanted to work under me. So that's why I became a broker. But everybody has a different reason on becoming a broker.
Good point. You definitely need to know that why. It's definitely not something you take on lightly. Someone was asking, or a few people have asked this question, as far as investing, which I think is so critical because you literally just said it, Chandra. They were asking, is this weekend, well, the first question was, do you have to be a real estate agent to be an investor? But then a second question that came in after that was, is this weekend mostly about real estate agents or investors? And it's both, right? Because many of us as agents are investors and many investors are not agents. But would you all like to speak to those two questions?
Well, I'm agreeing with you, Carmelita. This weekend is about both. We will have, as you mentioned, Mr. Julian Gordon, coming on to dig deep, more so into the investment side. We also have other professionals, other industry leaders, other top producing agents that are well-versed in investing. Later this afternoon, we have Candace Commercial, who's going to speak specifically on commercial and investing. So there will be other aspects of this weekend and other sessions where we will discuss investing. And investing is very broad, right? So we can't cover everything this weekend, right? But I do believe we're going to give people a wealth of information so at least they can, again, do their due diligence and figure out which is the best way for them to go.
Yes, absolutely. And keep in mind that you do not have to be an agent to become an investor. However, again, with that due diligence and education, there are benefits to being an agent who also happens to be an investor. But it does not mean that one must happen in order for the other one to happen. Exactly. And then, Chandra, there was a specific question for you that I thought was interesting. They asked if you could kind of just give them a brief understanding of how you became involved investing in HUD properties and how does one get started in that area?
For one, I think back then, my partners were focusing on HUD properties because of the commission. At that time, they were earning 6% commission on the sales, but actually also the HUD properties were more plentiful and the prices were very reasonable to purchase the HUD properties. Now, to purchase a HUD property, you just need, the difference of HUD properties and regular foreclosures is that any agent cannot sell a HUD property. They have to be registered with HUD. But before they can be registered with HUD, their broker has to be a registered HUD agent. A HUD broker. So, but it is a very lucrative, I'm not gonna say lucrative, it's a very beneficial purchase. Most of the time with the HUD properties, they're in much better condition. When you speak of the Fannie Mae's and Freddie Mac's, the Fannie Mae's and Freddie Mac's foreclosures, and you're going to hear me say different, we can't call HUD properties foreclosures, but the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the REO properties. They tend to be in a little better condition because they want to maintain the integrity of the community. With HUD, sometimes depending on the condition of the home and the community in which the home is in, they may or may not put more money into that property. They may just sell it as is. Now, when it also comes to the HUD properties, you may get a better deal on a HUD property, say if it doesn't sell to owner occupants first. If it doesn't sell to owner occupants first, then they go down to all bidders or investors. And more than likely when they go that route, then that price is reduced or they're a little bit more lenient in the price. I was very fortunate that when I purchased my homes, they were all HUD properties. And you can say the homes were purchased, the homes are only 2 years old. The people have purchased the homes for $160,000, $150,000. Now take it, this was in the down market as well. Mm-hmm. So virtually I had still a brand new home. I came in and purchased those homes for $102,000 and $89,000. Now, HUD also has an opportunity if you have a nonprofit that they will sell to nonprofits.
Yes.
And the other plus for HUD homes is that a vet can purchase the home with $1.
Absolutely.
So, HUD has its benefits, but it just depends on what you want. It just depends on where the market is. Right now, if you can go to the HUDhomestore.com, you can search all the homes throughout the country under HUD and see what's available. But you just have to remember, you need to contact a HUD broker that can sell those homes.
Absolutely. This is powerful information. So many people are asking very pertinent questions as it pertains to basically what we know as agents with all the hats that we wear, people beginning to know what they don't know, right? So a lot of the questions they're asking about the finances, Stephany, I'm going to advise that they wait until the lenders come on for that. So I will leave those questions there. They're all valid and wonderful questions. One of the things, though, that I do want to address before we start wrapping up this session, Chandra, a lot of people are asking, how can they get more information on NAREB, finding out about programs and education opportunities to help them? Because as Stephany said at the beginning, we have agents on this call, we have brokers, we have people interested in coming into real estate, but we also have people who are going to begin their investment journeys, and then some who are going to be first-time home buyers. So there is quite a collection of viewers here that are gaining a great deal of value, but they want to know how to connect.
They can contact me, and I can refer them to the membership chair for NAREB, and I can refer them to my membership chair for the Women's Council. And so they can contact me at either 832-428-9790.
Say that again, Chandra, 832.
832-428-9790. And I put it in the chat as well.
Oh, okay, you're putting it in. Okay, that's good. And that's important, folks, because we said this earlier. You have people over this weekend, they're going to give you the information to connect with them. Do it, right? Do it. Chandra just gave you a number to reach her for NAREB, Women's Council, and probably any other question that she can answer for you. So just make sure you stay in touch with us beyond this weekend, because we know there's no way we could possibly cover everything and have thousands of participants on here. Carmelita, do you mind? I saw one question that I wanted to bring up. Someone asked about being licensed in multiple states. And I know Chandra is, as well as I am. And someone said, well, what's the pros and cons? I can just say, for me, I think it depends on the area where you are. DC, Maryland, Virginia, people keep asking what DMV is. DC, Maryland, Virginia is very close. Within 10, 15 minutes, you can be in another part of the DMV. You can be in DC, you can be in Maryland, you can be in Northern Virginia at least. And so there are educational requirements that we have to maintain, that I have to maintain for each license, as well as fees. So that's another thing that you have to look at when you want to be licensed in multiple states or, jurisdictions. DC isn't a state, is what is involved. I know it goes back to what Chandra said earlier. What is your why? I knew when I started real estate 15 years ago that I wanted to grow. I wanted to have a team. Wasn't sure if I wanted to be a broker, but I wanted to have a team. So it wasn't just about me doing business in all three areas, even though I do now. It was more about what my future plans were. So I hope that answers the question for that person. You have to look at the finances. You have to look at accessibility, how often you'll be in those two different states or areas. A lot of this real estate is individual. I hope folks are seeing that too. There are some things that we share. There are processes, there are legalities and licensing as far as being an agent or other professions within the industry. But then so much of this depends on what you want to take from it, because my goals in real estate are different than Carmelita's, are different than Chandra's, and no one is wrong or right. It truly is your own decision. So I just wanted to make sure people understood that.
That was perfect. That was perfect, because actually somebody asked you, Stephany, what was your why? I didn't want to answer them, but that we'll leave that for you to do at the end. But I am going to close us out with this one question. Then I will invite myself back out of the conversation and yield the floor to both of the madams. What would one book be that you would recommend to folks to pick up for them to read? It's something from your library, whether it's, business related, real estate related, something that will help them kind of get focused on their why and moving forward. And then Stephany, maybe you can answer that person about your why when it comes to real estate. And then I will leave the rest to you to wrap up, ma'am.
So my why, I'll just answer really quickly because I definitely want to have closing remarks with Chandra. My why is legacy. Before I even knew what I know now, it's amazing how this works because we're constantly being educated in this industry. And when we expose ourselves to other people of color, it's just amazing how this thing works. But I knew for me, I didn't grow up in a family that had money. However, my parents did own their own home. And I don't know how I realized that my aunt didn't own her home. I was like a little girl. And I was like, well, I always knew I wanted to be a homeowner. As I grew to learn more about real estate and how to create wealth, I said, you know what, if nothing else, I will leave a legacy for my children through real estate. On a day-to-day basis, I enjoy working with clients. I come from a sales background. So to me, this was just a natural transition. It was something that my parents talked to me about prior to becoming an agent. I went to Howard University for chemistry. That's a whole nother thing. But I truly enjoyed the different facets, the different aspects of what it brings out of us as agents and professionals and how we get to deal with people, learn their stories. And I'm even more committed. Most of my clients are people of color. I might as well say 99.999%. I'm so committed to making sure our folks get into homes. Those that are ready, those that want to buy, everyone will not be a homeowner. Myself, my team, and folks that I'm affiliated with, we do not force people. I did not realize until I joined WREBA the disparity between us owning and other folks owning homes. And that also has just motivated me even more to do my part. So I hope that answers the question.
That's a beautiful answer. And what book would you recommend?
For folks that are getting started, because I'm an agent, guys, so I'm more of an agent than investor. That's why I'm waiting for Mr. Julian Gordon to come on. This is not my brokerage sponsorship, but Keller Williams put out a great book. It's a classic, The Millionaire Agent. I also have another book. What is it? The Six Figures, Six-Figure Agent. No, that's my mindset though, right? So that's where I am. But all of the books go back to what you said, Carmelita, the why. I'm trying to grow my business to a certain level. So that's why I read books where they encourage that type of mindset from the very beginning. You don't have to be an established agent to think six figures and beyond. You should be thinking that now for those that are on the call that are just getting started or considering getting started.
Good suggestions. Very good suggestions. Chandra?
Reason I got into real estate, I retired from the Department of Corrections. And this also gave me the avenue to reach back and help my family and friends, as well as to educate those who thought that they couldn't become homeowners or investors. And my favorite book is Who Moved My Cheese.
Good one. That's a good one also.
Now, Carmelita, you're the reader. What book would you recommend?
Oh, cut it out. Stop it. We don't have that much time.
You got one. At least you got one.
I do. Well, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you. And of course, we've been talking about this on my podcast all month, but I'm going to say just Powernomics being my favorite because I fall in love with Dr. Anderson. Every week we get to sit at his feet. But I do, especially since we're having so many questions about finance, about money to begin investing. We have to start thinking beyond just what we see in our bank account and understanding that collectively we can go so much farther by working together. So I would strongly recommend that book. That would be my pick for today.
Well, thank you very much, Carmelita, for the teamwork that's making the dream work. We'll be seeing you or hearing from you through the rest of the sessions for today. Oh my goodness, Madam Chandra, since we ended with you being the president of Women's Council, thank you so much for your time. People are still asking questions. Your phone will probably be off the hook.
Fine.
But it's okay, right? Because you're giving back and you're sharing, which is why we are here. We appreciate you taking the time to come out and inspire thousands of folks on the call and in the overflow room with Black real estate investing, broker. Oh, we didn't even get into, gosh, she's a property manager. She has so much going on, signing agency as well. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. We hope that you stick around for the conference. Madam Chandra, maybe you can answer some of the questions that people have for you. Would you like to close out with just a word of encouragement or inspiration for everyone that is on the call?
I would say, with this COVID, this is an opportunity for us to reach back and regain our wealth and, take any opportunity, be it a quarter of a land, a half an acre, buy something. If you got to team up with a family member, buy something. We have to create and rebuild our generational wealth.
And that is so true.
You know what? This is what I wanted to say to close out. We as an African-American community, we're always, I'm not going to say we are, but our ancestors, our grandparents, we're tight-mouthed. We need to start sharing information with our grandkids, our great-grandkids, even our kids, because we are a race of people who we have a lot of wealth, but we don't share it. And it goes to the graves with our people. And we have to stop doing that. There's land and stuff out there that family members know nothing about. We need to share that, because the person that says, well, we don't want someone to come and take it. Well, if no one else in the family knows about it,
they're going to take it.
They're going to take it. So
exactly.
We have to quit being so, as Antoine says, working in a cyclone or a cylinder by ourselves. We have to start inviting people into our circle, especially our family members, and start sharing that information, that family, that lineage of information that's down there that we know nothing about.
Exactly. And that's exactly why this weekend is so important, because even if folks don't have it in their own natural families, we family this weekend, we're sharing information. We are empowering folks. You guys should not leave this weekend, go into Monday next week, the same way we started this weekend, because you're going to have more than enough information to make some serious changes in your life and impact your life for generations to come. Think about that. Forget a bunch of Christmas presents. Real estate is the gift that keeps on giving. It really can. And that's what we need to do.
We have to rebuild our village.
Madam Chandra. Huh?
Thank you. I said, we have to rebuild our village.
We have to do it, right? We can't depend on anyone else. And the Black Business School provides all of that information. So we're in good hands. Thank you, Madam Chandra. And I know I'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, you will. Thank you for having me, Madam Stephany.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carmelita and Mr. Watkins.
So guys, next, how was the first session? Please give us your feedback. What do you guys think about this first session where we were able to speak to our broker for the weekend, Madam Chandra out of Houston, Texas, Sapphire Realty? Well, guess what? So many of you have tuned in this weekend to learn more about investing, right? I tuned in. I'm here because I'm going to be taking notes. They say people who take notes are really smart, right, guys? So got my notepad. I am ready to introduce our next guest. He has, this is a shortened resume or bio. Mr. Julian Gordon is a 6-time author. He's a 5-time TED speaker and the founder and creator of the Freedom School. He has been featured on MSNBC and Fox and in Forbes and Inc. magazine. He earned his MBA and Master's in Education from Stanford University and received his BA from UCLA in 3 years. Julian is on a mission to free 300 people like Harriet Tubman through entrepreneurship and real estate investing. He has fully freed several people through his coaching, speaking, mastermind, books, and execution events. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome the man of this morning, on the East Coast anyway, Mr. Julian Gordon.
Thank you so much, Stephany. How are you?
I am well, sir. How are you doing?
Doing good. Can you see me?
I can't see you.
You can't see me. All right. So let me try something real quick.
No problem. While you're getting that straight,
Yeah.
we have to mention the overflow link. Does anyone in admin have the overflow link? I don't have it. Is it?
In the chat, it is drboycetv.com. I'll type it in the chat.
Thank you. drboycetv.com, guys. You can go on there, overflow, to catch the conference. There you go,
All right.
Julian.
There we go. What's going on, y'all?
Actually, I'm just going to jump in real quick, just everyone. You know, I always got to have something to say about Brother Julian. You know, my closest friends. But
Yes.
You know, the bio doesn't really speak to what you're about to get right now. Julian is one of the smartest and most dedicated people that I know, point blank, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed. So go ahead and take it away, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, y'all. So in chat, everybody, I need you to type me something real quick. I need you to type refuse to renew. Type refuse to renew in chat. Go ahead and type that, because in 2021, I need everybody in here to make a commitment that they refuse to renew their lease.
Ooh.
Everybody in here, I need you to refuse to renew your lease. There is no reason over the next 12 months that you cannot step into home ownership, but not just single family home ownership. I'm talking multifamily home ownership. If you are tired of paying rent, if rent is too damn high, it is time to get that particular expense off the books and actually have your living space pay you. All right. So that's what we are going to cover on this particular presentation in this session. I'm excited to be here and to share this with you. Let me share my screen. Let me see if I have permission to share my screen. All right, 1 second. Getting it. All right, we are good to go. Let me please confirm when you can see my screen that we are good.
I don't see it. Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Here we go.
It's good now?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Everybody in chat, let me know. We good? Beautiful. If you multifamily movement in the building, multifamily movement members in the building, type MFM. All my multifamily movement members in the building, type MFM. Beautiful. So the family is here and they will testify on my behalf. I ain't even got to speak it. They will testify on my behalf that this movement that we are creating is real and people are getting results. Literally in the past 30 days, we have had about a student close every other day. We've had a student close on multifamily real estate every other day. Okay. So this process that I'm about to teach you in the multifamily master plan is real, and it is happening and changing people's life forever. So I want to welcome you to the multifamily master plan, how to finance, find, and finalize your first multifamily real estate deal and literally start living for free. For those of you who don't know me, who aren't part of the movement yet, my name is Julian Gordon. You may know me as Mr. Multifamily. As Mr. Multifamily, you can catch me on Instagram, dropping a lot of knowledge at Julian Gordon. At Julian Gordon, it's just my name. Okay. And my purpose is to free 300 people like Harriet Tubman to pursue their purpose through entrepreneurship and multifamily real estate. My real estate portfolio is worth $4.1 million right now. with 10 multifamily homes and 30 apartments, also known as units and doors, that generate $36,000 per month in rents. I built that portfolio in just 6 years on the side. Real estate was not my primary business. Lawrence will tell you that I used to travel all across the country and speak at colleges and companies. And I no longer have to do that. I no longer have to leave home in order to make money. I no longer have to trade time in order to make money. And so real estate has fully freed me. My real estate portfolio returns about 13.83% annually. If you look at the S&P 500, even as high as it is today, over the past 20 years, the S&P 500 has only grown on average 4.23% every single year. So the asset class that I'm about to teach you right now, it multiplies that by 3. The asset class that I'm teaching you right now is 3 times the return of the S&P 500. How many of you got hit pretty hard with Corona? Hopefully you bounce back, because the S&P 500 has bounced back. But how many of you got hit hard in your 401ks and your stock market portfolios? Hopefully you've taken some of Dr. Watkins' classes on stock market investing or options and been able to navigate the ups and downs. But if you are a passive investor and you are letting somebody else manage and control your money, you may be in the red right now in comparison to where you are before Corona hit. Right. So we want to give you an asset that you have more control of, that is more predictable and has 3 times the return. My properties have appreciated by 19.48%. And I'm giving you these decimal points because I want you to know that the numbers that I'm sharing with you are real. Anytime somebody gives you some general number, 80%, 20%, you know it's likely not real, all right? I'm founder of the multifamily movement, where I'm helping thousands of students achieve rent and mortgage freedom through multifamily real estate. And I want to be very clear that I am not a licensed real estate agent, and you do not have to be one either. I'm not a licensed real estate agent, and you do not have to be one either. Okay. Now, I know it's early in the morning on Saturday, and I appreciate you all for being here. So I'm going to wake everybody up a little bit. You know, Black folk, when we go to church or whatnot, you know, we need to hear some music. We need to get in the rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to open this up with a poem that I wrote that really captures the essence of multifamily real estate and why you need to own. All right. And so let me break it down for you. I know multifamily real estate in so much depth that I can weave all the vocabulary into a poem that will actually resonate with you. In the same way that many of you are teaching your kids from home, how do kids learn? They learn through song and rhyme. All right. So let me share this with you right now, just to wake everybody up. All right. I know you've probably been seeing PowerPoint slides and hearing conversations. Let me change up the rhythm a little bit. Why don't we hack houses like frat houses, where everyone living good for just a few thousand? Some will say it's lousy while they slaving proudly, spending 1/3 of their revenue to pay for housing. Living on your own, but you don't own ish. Can't even get a loan. Student debt is thinking a high wage is the way to get rich. Not if your living expenses rise directly with it. Trying to keep up with the Joneses, deep in debt till you croak. I'm gonna live just like the Jeffersons, pretend that I'm broke. Then I'll buy a multifamily, let the rents pay the note. Perhaps you could be my tenant. Yo, that would be dope. I keep my cost of living low along with my blood pressure. Because if you always stressing, it's hard to enjoy pleasure. The man with the most is not the one who wins the race. It's the man with his soul who could look at his own face. 40 acres and a mule is what they taught us in school. I'd rather have 40 apartments and a big money pool. Leverage credit to capital and capital to cash flow. Cash is not king because the interest too low. Some call me a do-gooder. I got good deeds in my name. As the Lord of my land, I'll never be a slave. You can dabble in stocks, lose your shirt and your socks, but the demand for housing will never, ever stop. Assets, assets, assets. Passive, passive, passive. These are the 2 keys to amass wealth quick. But quick is really relative. It's a long-term game. Who you hustling for? Your first or your last name? Boom. Financial bars. Financial bars. So right now, where you are on your wealth journey, your journey to wealth consciousness, you may not understand every line that is in this poem, and that's okay. That's what the Black Business School is here for, to teach you how to understand these deeper financial principles, right? You've been told that cash is king, right? Cash is not king. Cash is actually pawn, y'all. I need everybody to type that. Cash is pawn. In the game of chess, the queen is the most powerful piece. That is an asset. Queens give birth to kings, which are cash flow. And those kings lead to pawns, which is cash. And in the game of chess, you will happily sacrifice a pawn in order to capture a queen. As Nipsey said, we're playing chess, not checkers. But some of us have been playing checkers because that's what we were programmed to do, right? You realize that cash is the lowest yielding asset in the entire world? I'm gonna repeat that. Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the entire world. At 0.03% interest in your savings account, it will take you 2,400 years to double your money. 72, rule of 72, 72 divided by 0.03 equals 2,400 years, okay? I'm trying to teach you an asset class that will at least yield 12%. 72 divided by 12 is 6. That is your money doubling every 6 years. For those of you on the corporate plantation, you realize that you're still picking cotton. You realize that money is 75% cotton. You still picking cotton. You thought you got away from slavery. You still picking cotton. It's just flat and it's green now. Okay? So you haven't escaped. I don't care how much money you make, right? You are not free until you have assets that cover your cost of living. All right? So here's my actual portfolio. Here's my actual portfolio. I'm not just going to say that I have 10 properties. These are all of them. These are properties. I have keys to every single door here. My first property was in Brooklyn, New York in 2013. That is when I achieved rent and mortgage freedom off of one decision. I haven't found any other decision that is going to have more of an impact on either your financial future than except who you decide to marry. Who you decide to marry and whether or not you buy multifamily real estate as early as you possibly can. Those are the only two factors that those are going to have the biggest impact on your wealth over time. So I achieved rent and mortgage freedom. The moment I bought this property, I moved into the owner's unit downstairs. I was receiving rents from this third and second floor, and I achieved rent and mortgage freedom. And now my living space was paying me instead of me paying rent to someone else. All right. Then as I expanded my portfolio, I went to new markets like New Orleans, where I currently live, Oakland, California. And last year alone, I bought 7 properties with 25 apartments last year alone. Okay. So today I have 30 doors or apartments, 13.83% cash on cash return, 19.5% appreciation, $36,000 in monthly rent, and $4.1 million in value. Now, I have not just done this for myself. As you've seen in the chat, a lot of my students are here right now, right? These are some of my students who have closed in the past year. The Roll family, Jackie in Philadelphia, Aisha and Darren in Providence, Rhode Island, Karen and Jamel, who are real estate agents, okay? Norfolk, Virginia, Allen, Baltimore, Morgan in Columbia, South Carolina, the Campbell family in Charlotte, Tyler and Olivia here in New Orleans. These are my students who are actually closing. All I care about is results, y'all. All I care about is results. And so my students are winning. Now, Thomas said, you can see their recent pictures. They got masks on in the closing room, right? So you know these pictures are recent. These ain't no stock images, y'all. All right. So you've seen it. All of our leaders have said it. Land and property are the key to our freedom. This is Farrakhan saying, we have to have land. Start buying up your community. Y'all want to know why they killed Dr. Martin Luther King? It wasn't because of some sit-ins and us trying to eat at their counters. It was because he started getting on the tip where he knew that we needed land. Let me read this really quickly for you. This is what he said in his I have a plan speech, not his I have a dream speech. We need to get off that dream stuff, okay? We need to actually bring it down to reality. This was his I have a plan speech. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant it was willing to undergird its peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give them the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided country agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are getting millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm. And they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself up by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. Now, this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check. This is why they killed King shortly thereafter. All right. So you have to understand the importance of land. All right. You have to understand the importance of land. All right. When you think about, for those of you who are Christian, all right, who are here, what was God's first gift to man? What was God's first gift to man? It was not life. You realize that God created the earth before it created its greatest creation, which is man. Land was the first gift from God. And yet we as people of African descent have allowed other people to come in and take land. But I'll explain to you why really quickly, is that because the land was here when we as the firstborn came to this planet, Because the land was already here, we didn't perceive it as ours. We didn't have this idea of private property or ownership. The land was everybody's to be used. It wasn't something to be owned. But then we had our counterparts come in, our lighter skinned brothers and sisters, and they had this idea of property and ownership. This is why when you go to Europe, what do you see? You see castles. Why? Because a castle, in the architecture of a castle, means that there is fear from the outside. I need to build a moat around my place because I have fear of the outside. We didn't build in that way. Okay, so something happened to them that put them in a fear state, and this is what began the path of greed and scarcity in their consciousness, which has then impacted the world through white inferiority. It's not white supremacy. White superiority, white supremacy is the fake facade. What it is covering up is actually white inferiority. Okay, so let's keep it pushing. We know that the culture is shifting. And we cannot just wait for rappers, and you do not have to be a rapper in order to shift the culture. You can shift the culture in your family, right? This is Rick Ross buying 87 acres, all right? And this is T.I. urging people to use their refund checks and their government stimulus to buy property instead of designer clothes. Now, here's the issue. A lot of us are still waiting for our 40 acres. A lot of us are still hoping on reparations. But you want to know the problem with that? Most of y'all can't take care of a goldfish. Most of y'all can't take care of a plant in your house. You don't have enough discipline to water it every single day. So what are you going to do with 40 acres if you can't take care of a plant in your house? So we got to get off that. And we want 40 apartments in our portfolio, not just 40 acres, all right? So what I want to take you on is what I call the above ground railroad. As you know, Harriet Tubman is my ancestor spirit. She was the #1 conductor on the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad, she freed 300 people over the course of about a decade by making 19 trips below the Mason-Dixon line, right? What I'm taking you on is the above ground railroad. Real estate, multifamily real estate is the above ground railroad, and it is the path to freedom. Watch this, y'all. When we were on our journey to freedom, where did Harriet take us in the middle of the night? When we were on our journey to freedom, where did Harriet take us in the middle of the night? Where did she stop? She stopped at safe houses. Safe houses. So do you realize that real estate has been part of your journey to freedom since day one? The new safe house today is multifamily real estate. It is your pathway to rent and mortgage freedom if you just follow the blueprint that I share with you today. Okay? So real estate, real estate, real estate. So the first thing we need to do in order to move toward freedom, because a lot of y'all talk about freedom, you want to ball the fist, everything, we have to be able to play the financial game. And right now, where many of you are being hit on a daily or monthly basis is in your rent or your mortgage, okay? And so I'm trying to get you, I am getting people to rent and mortgage freedom. And rent and mortgage freedom is the result of buying multifamily real estate, which has cash flow that eliminates your housing expense forever. Again, when I bought that first property in Brooklyn, New York, I have not paid, I'm going to make this clear. I have not made a housing expense in the past 7 years of my life. I have not paid for housing in the past 7 years of my life. For most people, housing takes up about 35% of what they bring into their household every single month. What would change in your life if you no longer had a housing expense for the rest of your life? Let me know in chat. What would change in your life if you no longer had a housing expense forever? Forever. I'm not even kidding you, y'all. This is not just some, what do they call it? Tongue-in-cheek statement. Everything, freedom, generational wealth, savings, quit my job, pursue my passion, make more investments, vacation, buy more property, stability, wealth. I would be free, okay? So I'm trying to show you a pathway to get free. And it's a pathway that is available to all of you if you're willing to step into it. Now, when we're talking about multifamily real estate, what are we talking about? We're not talking about those big 60-unit buildings that you see alongside the freeway, all right? I'm talking about 2-family, 3-family, or 4-family homes. Those are also known as duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes, okay? There's only 2.6 million of them in the United States, and they only make up 18% of the entire rental supply. So we're looking for a very specific assets. Now, when you buy a 3-family or a 4-family in the right way, like I did in Brooklyn, you can achieve rent and mortgage freedom with one single decision. One purchase can get you to rent mortgage freedom where you never have a housing expense for the rest of your life. All right. So what has coronavirus done? You know, Black folks, we called it the Rona, right? What about that Rona though? How has coronavirus affected the real estate market? Well, I got some surprising news for you, and it's good. What happens to rents in the midst of an economic recession, y'all? Rents go up. These gray bars represent the last recessions. We want to know why rents go up? Because when single family buyers who are chasing the American dream, which is really the American nightmare, get foreclosed on, where do they go? They become renters. And when the demand for rental units goes up, but the supply of rental units does not change, what happens to price, y'all? When demand goes up, but supply does not change, what happens to price? What happens to price? Price goes up. It's just basic economics. I know it doesn't make sense because people are losing jobs and things of that nature, but even if you had a single family home, you have to live somewhere. And so you end up renting. And so the demand for rentals goes up, the supply has not changed. So the price of rents go up. You want to know the other good thing about coronavirus and what it's done for multifamily real estate? Interest rates are at an all-time low. I remember when my dad bought his house, the interest rate was like 7 or 8%. Today, I have students closing at 2.25%. That is basically free money when you account for inflation. Free money that you get to lock in for 30 years. Okay? If I can borrow money at 2.25% and I know how to make it grow at 15%, how much money should I borrow, y'all? If I can borrow money at 2.25% and I know how to make it grow at 15%, how much money should I borrow, y'all? You would borrow as much money as you could possibly deploy. See, some of you have a negative relationship to debt because you have a lot of bad debt. Bad debt is debt that you have to pay back. That is your single family home mortgage. Yep, that's bad debt. Your student loans, what they call good debt, that's bad debt. You can't even file bankruptcy for your student loans. And then your credit cards, your consumer debt, that's bad debt, okay? But there's such thing as good debt. And good debt is debt that you use to go acquire an asset that then pays back the debt and leaves you with cash flow. That is what multifamily real estate will do for you when you understand debt. But until you heal your negative relationship with debt and you truly understand how to leverage debt to actually grow and accelerate, then you're going to be stuck, okay? Even Amazon, with all the cash that is pouring into that company, you can go look at its balance sheet, and even Amazon has debt because they want to use it to fuel its growth, all right? So let's talk about the down payment really quickly. You know, I want to, this is the All Black National Convention, but I have to say something just so you are clear that America is not about race. America does not hate you as Black individuals. There is a group of people in power who seek to keep as many people as possible down, which includes Black people. You want to know how I know? Because 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And if Black people only make up 14% of this country, then it can't just be us that they are enslaving. They are willing to enslave even their own. And so you have to understand this is not about Black or white. It is all about green. If you go look at the Jane Elliott experiment where she, it's called the brown-eyed, blue-eyed experiment. And she divided a classroom of white kids by brown eyes and blue eyes. And she told the brown-eyed kids that the blue-eyed kids were better. She gave the blue-eyed kids more privileges. And you should see what happened when the blue-eyed kids perceived themselves as better and how they treated the brown-eyed kids. So I just want you to know that this is less about race, y'all. And it's more about a psychology of power. And one of the tools they use to maintain power is money, all right? So when you get hated on by white folk in any kind of way and through any kind of institution, I just want you to know, don't take it personal. Because all this reactionism, all right? A lot of you aren't revolutionary, you're just reactionary. There's a difference between being revolutionary and being reactionary. If you're just gonna react to everything that they do, then you're gonna spend your entire life reacting. And you will never have pursued your purpose because you just spent your entire life reacting to what somebody else did. Revolutionary is you living life on your own terms. I am a 100% free Black man. I don't care what any group of people decides to do. There's nobody who can stop me or determine how I spend my life. So you can be 100% free in this matrix, okay? but you have to recognize the God in you. There's no other man that has the power to control another man. And I say that not from gender's perspective. No other human being has the power to control you when you recognize the God that is in you. No other being can control you. How is that possible? Was he or she born with more power than you? No, you just don't know the power that you have. And so you allow it. All right. Wait, I know it ain't even Sunday, y'all. It ain't even Sunday, but it's coming through me. I'm in the room with my people. And so y'all thought this was just going to be about real estate. This is more than real estate. Okay. Real estate is just the avenue. All right. So we got to get out of scarcity consciousness and move towards wealth consciousness. And the pathway to doing that, the first step to doing that is to start to command real estate, start to take control of our divine birthright. Abundance is our birthright, but we've been taught poverty consciousness. Let me explain something to you before I get back into real estate. You realize how many of you grew up in poverty? How many grew up in poverty? Okay, so I got some good news for you. Y'all want to hear the good news? Being born in poverty does not make you poor. We are born, we look at our condition as poverty, and we say, I am poor. I am are the two most powerful words in the English language. That is what God calls itself. Your external conditions do not determine who you are. And let me explain to you why you were born into poverty. You were born into poverty to show the world how wealthy you truly are. That's it. You were born into poverty to show the world how wealthy you truly are. If you were born into wealth, how could you show the world that you were wealthy? If you were born Paris Hilton, how could you show the world that you were really wealthy? The only way to demonstrate your wealth is to go from rags to riches. You realize that you being Black means that you are a black belt. And in karate, what is a black belt, y'all? A black belt is the highest belt on the chart. You realize that you being Black is not going to be you being at the lowest level. It's you being at the highest level. You being Black is not you being at the bottom of the totem pole. It is actually means that you are at the top of the totem pole. You are on the last level there is. So when you perceive your experience as a Black person in this country as just being the highest level, then you don't take it personal. You just see it as a challenge for you to grow and to step into your God self. Are y'all hearing this? Okay, back to real estate. Back to real estate. So scarcity consciousness will tell you that you can't afford anything that you truly want. And I need to let you know that this is my tax return from 2012. This is my tax return, okay? My W-2 actually. And in 2012, I only made $36,000. But guess what? When did I buy that property in Brooklyn? I bought it in 2013. So this was the W-2 that they used to qualify me for that property that I bought in Brooklyn in 2013. So I got into real estate when I wasn't making a lot of money. I got into real estate in New York City, the most expensive market in the world. I got into real estate while I was an entrepreneur and within 3 years of an economic recession. So that whole idea that I need a lot of money to get in real estate, I've literally just wiped that clear for you. Now, can you get into real estate in Brooklyn right now with $36,000? No, that property is appreciated by $300,000. That property is appreciated by $300,000. So $36,000 probably won't cut it. But I'm just letting you know that your own limiting beliefs, your own scarcity and poverty consciousness is what caught you up from not getting in the game. So my homework to everybody who is here is go get pre-approved. Go get pre-approved. You have no idea what the bank will lend you. Some of you have been sitting on the sidelines blaming racism, blaming sexism for why you can't get a home. When the reality is that was you and your own limiting thinking. Go get pre-approved. That's everybody's homework. On Monday and Tuesday, go get pre-approved if you have not been pre-approved, okay? So first and foremost, there is a path that you can take to control real estate that is no down payment, no closing costs, no points or fees, and no credit score consideration, okay? Some of you don't know about this particular program. So I want you to be clear that your intellectual property, what you know, can actually get you physical property. Some of you simply just don't know enough. These are not stock images. These are men that I actually know who went through this program to acquire multifamily real estate. That's Mark in Inglewood. That's the Roll family in Los Angeles. And that's the Kevin and the Felix family out in Brooklyn, New York. This program is called NACA. NACA.com. No down payment, no closing costs, no points or fees, no credit score consideration, and below market 30-year and 15-year fixed rate. If you have been paying your rent on time consistently and you do your monthly budget consistently through their budgeting program, they will finance you based on that and disregard all the things that other banks typically take into account when they're underwriting you. All right. So that whole excuse of I can't afford real estate, I've literally just wiped that off the plate. It's gone. Oh, I'll never be able to save up that amount. Go to NACA. Oh, my credit score isn't good enough. Go to NACA. So NACA will help you get finance, but NACA does not necessarily help you find the deal, okay? Financing is one part of the equation. Finding a deal is the next, and we're gonna get to that in just a second. Your second option is the government's FHA program. It's 3.5% down, okay? So this is a duplex that I control here in New Orleans, $300,000. 3.5% down on $300,000 is $10,500. $10,500. So literally you could control this asset for $10,500. Now, I need to ask you something really quickly. What other business can you buy for $300,000 with only $10,500 down, get financed for the other $289,000 in 30 to 45 days just by emailing some documents to a lender, have that business immediately cash flow in 30 days, and succeed with minimal time, effort, or experience? Please let me know. What other business could you buy for $300,000 with only $10,500 down? Any ideas? There are none, y'all, except for multifamily real estate. This is why this has to be the first asset in your family's name. So let's talk about the monthly payment. Some of you are like, oh, I can't make a mortgage payment, but you've been paying rent on time. What you mean you can't make a mortgage payment? You've already been paying somebody else's mortgage. You've already been paying somebody else's mortgage. So what do you mean you can't make a mortgage payment? Like, come on, y'all. The average 2-bedroom in the United States is $1,225. The average single family home, of course, not on the coast, not in the cities that some of y'all want to live in, okay, is $1,199. So it's literally less to own than it is to rent. But of course, this webinar isn't about single family homes. It's about multifamily property, okay? So this was somebody who was on a webinar before when I taught this. And she said, I love your seminar. I really wish I could join, but being a single working mom right now is what's preventing me from pursuing my dreams. At this time, I pay $1,200 a month for 9 years, which is insane for rent to a slumlord who never fixes anything. And if he does, it is used, okay? So I want to point out something really quickly. In this particular instance, this individual is using the fact that she's a single mom as the reason she's not buying real estate, okay? Now, here's how I will challenge every excuse that you've been leaning on. Some of you, oh, my dad wasn't around. My dad went to jail. I grew up in the hood, or I had a bad school district. My teacher told me this in the 6th grade. You know, I got an arrest. My credit is bad. A lot of y'all got excuses and you've been using that as your crutch. What did Jesus say? He said, pick up your mat and walk. Pick up your mat and walk. Here's how I know that your excuse is invalid. Are there 5 other individuals in this entire country that are single moms who own multifamily real estate? Are there at least 5 other women who are single moms in the United States who own multifamily real estate? Yes or no? So if there are at least 5 other examples in the entire country, then guess what? Your excuse is invalid. Oh, I had ADHD. I didn't finish high school. I didn't finish college. I got student debt. If I can go find 5 people who have overcome your excuse, then your excuse is invalid. So let's look at how much she's paid this slumlord. And this slumlord doesn't care about her, doesn't care about her family, doesn't care about our community. And over the past 9 years, she's paid $130,000 to a slumlord. How are we going to catch up in terms of wealth when we're literally just forking over money every single month to our quote unquote oppressor? I don't have any oppressors, okay? But for those of you who still like to use that language and think that somebody is oppressing you, right? Then how are we ever going to catch up at this rate? It's going to be absolutely impossible. In fact, in chat, everybody type how much rent or mortgage you pay every single month. Type it in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing 1425, 2100, 1800, 1500. So watch this. I'm gonna take 1200 real quick. Watch this, y'all. Watch this, y'all. Where's my calculator? Calculator. All right, so there are 1400 of us here. The average that I'm seeing is about 1200. I'm gonna multiply that by 12 months. Y'all wanna know how much rent and mortgage expense we pay collectively, just us right here in this room right now? $20 million a year. Just the folks that are in this room, $20 million a year in rent or mortgage expense every single year. And y'all talking about creating generational wealth and you just forking over $20 million every single year. And that's just us in this room right now. And we supposed to be the woke ones. We the ones who are paying for this education. We supposed to be the ones that get it. Look, y'all, you cannot be woke and broke at the same time. If you think you woke, but you broke, then you don't understand the system that you are in. So therefore you cannot be woke. A woke person understands the environment that they are in. So if you don't understand this economic environment that you're in, then you cannot be woke if you were still broke. So miss me with that, oh, I'm conscious and hotep this, miss me with all that. You can point out all the 101 ways that your oppressor is oppressing you, but you can't come up with 101 ways to make money. All right? So for everybody who is here, I got to come at you real quick for those of you who are renters. If you are a renter, I need you to accept the reality that you are homeless. You are literally homeless. You don't have a home. You may call it my apartment. You may call it my house, but it's not yours. You aren't on the title. You are not on the deed. I'm just calling it what it is. Okay? You told your subconscious mind that we have a home and therefore it no longer seeks a home for you. You have to tell your subconscious mind we're homeless so that it can get activated to go finding you a home. Here you are with the internet, good head on your shoulders, decent job, education, right? Here you are with warmth in the middle of the winter. And yet here's this homeless man who's probably dealt with physical abuse, drug addiction, no money to their pocket, only has the clothes on their head, no family, no relationships, no bank account, no ID, no food. How is it that this homeless man owns as many properties as you do? Can somebody explain that? How does this homeless man own as many properties as you do? Zero. With all of these things that you have, how is that the case? How is that the case? It doesn't make any sense. Okay? So you need to just accept that reality and make sure that that is not the truth for you at the end of 2021. You are homeless. All right? So for those of you who are single family buyers, how many type SFH if you're a single family buyer? Okay. Single family buyers, I got to come at y'all real quick because y'all got caught up too. You realize that the word mortgage literally means death pledge. If you look at the word mortician or mortuary, the word mortgage literally means death pledge. These banks have been effing with you for a long time. They literally just made the word, and because you didn't understand the etymology of it, many of you were happy to sign a death pledge for 30 years. Some of you are afraid to quit your job on the corporate plantation because you're afraid of missing one single mortgage payment. Stop me when I'm lying. Stop me when I'm lying. So let me explain to you what happens. When you bought your home, you bought yourself a home and you bought your banker a home. Because let me show you the transaction. If you bought a single family home, see, HGTV will have you fooled. HGTV will have you saying, oh, congrats, you're a homeowner. You are not a homeowner when you get the keys, y'all. At that moment, you own 3.5% of the home. The bank owns the other 96.5%. So stop calling yourself a homeowner because you're not. You have to be very particular with the language. There's a lot of trickery in the language in America. So the truth is that the bank buys your home and then rents it to you for 30 years. You thought you weren't paying rent anymore? You still paying rent. You're just not paying rent to a landlord. You're paying rent to the bank to use their money to stay in the home that you are in. You are still renting, but you're renting money instead of a space. The interest rate on $300,000 home with 3.5% down at 4% is $208,000. You want to know what that is equivalent to over 360 months, which is a 30-year mortgage? You're literally paying $578 per month in rent, in interest. It's just called interest though. That's without private mortgage insurance. That's without your property taxes. And that's without your homeowner's insurance. You want to know something that's even scarier? Some of you who have single family homes, you pay more money for housing every single month than someone who is renting the same square footage across the street from you. They don't have to pay property taxes. They don't have to pay homeowners insurance. They don't have to pay private mortgage insurance. They don't have to pay interest. So some of you got caught up in the American dream. You realize that everything in the American dream, go to college, get a mortgage, get a single W-2 job. You realize that the government gets paid off of every single thing they tell you to do in the American dream? The government gets paid off of every single thing they tell you to do in the American dream. They sold you away for them to get paid. I hope y'all catching this. You caught up in the web. Yep, you caught up in the matrix. And we at the Black Business School are trying to free you. All right. So if you can pay rent, you can own a single family home, right? But if you don't want to pay rent or mortgage ever again, you can simply own a multifamily home. So let's talk about the multifamily map. Here's why you buy a multifamily first instead of a single family. If you use the 3.5% down program to buy your single family, let's say it's $100,000, disregard the prices of the home, just understand the math, okay? 3.5% down on a $100,000 home is $3.5 thousand, okay? Now you want to buy a multifamily home because you realize that your single family home was a trap, right? But you're nostalgically attached to it now. You didn't realize that you would have to put 25% down for your investment property. So 25% down on $300,000 property is $75,000. So that's $78,000 in down payments, okay? But watch this, y'all. If we literally just switch the sequence, you put 3.5% down on a $300,000 home, that's only $10,500. And then after living there for 1 year, which is the FHA requirement, then you put 25% down on your single family home, that's only $35,000 in down payments. So it's literally twice as easy to buy a multifamily first and then a single family than it is to buy a single family and then a multifamily. Did you all catch that? Did you all catch that? Okay, good. So let me show you the play that we teach you to run in the Black Business School. Right now, many of you are renting, okay? You're paying $1,000 a month to a landlord. That landlord collects $3,000. They pay a $1,500 mortgage, and then they pocket the other $1,500. Right? Now, what you want to do is you want to become the landlord and you get rents just like I did in Brooklyn. You get rents from the third and the second floor. That's $2,000. Okay. But guess what? You're no longer paying rent anymore. So that's actually $3,000 in your pocket. That's $3,000 in your pocket. So you take that $3,000, you pay your mortgage of $1,500. Now you're living rent and mortgage free. Plus you have $1,500 in your pocket. Okay. But some of you want that American dream. You want the house with the white picket fence. You want the nuclear family with one son and one daughter, right? And you want the dog named Lassie. I know you've been programmed since you were young. I get it, okay? So after you live there for 1 year, you simply go buy the single family that you desire. You rent the unit that you are in. Now that's $3,000 coming from this property, plus the $1,000 you're not paying in rent. That's $4,000. You pay the $1,500 mortgage here. You pay the $1,500 mortgage here. Now you're living rent and mortgage free. You have a multifamily and your desired single family. You're not paying either of the mortgages. Plus you have $1,000 in your pocket. It's very basic, y'all. It's very basic, y'all. But the key is making sure that you buy this property right. You have to buy this property right. Okay? See, imagine being enslaved in Maryland, just below the Mason-Dixon line, and on your deathbed, somebody said to you, hey, guess what I just found out? I just found out that the Mason-Dixon line is right there on the horizon next to that tree. All this time, for 40 years, you've been hoeing away. You've been hoeing away, okay, for somebody else. And then you learn just before you die that the Mason-Dixon line was right there all along. I'm literally here to show you that the Mason-Dixon line to rent and mortgage freedom is closer than you think. Some of you who are here right now are literally 3 months away from achieving rent and mortgage freedom, and you didn't even know it when you signed up. Some of you are literally 3 months away. My students have closed in 30 days. Some take 3 months. Some take 6 months. Some take a year. Doesn't matter. You are closer than you even know. Some of you are just afraid to run because you think the line is too far. I'm telling you, the line is not that far if you just follow the blueprint, if you just follow the multifamily master plan. Okay? So, retraining your eyes. A lot of you have been deceived by HGTV. I call it HGTV foolishness. Okay? Your first investment property will not look like anything you've ever seen on HGTV. I need all of you to stop watching HGTV right now. Stop it. It is deceiving you. It is programming you. You need to stop. It'll have you making the wrong decisions when it comes to real estate. HGTV teaches you to look at real estate from an aesthetic standpoint. I teach you to look at real estate as an asset. All right? So shows like the Property Brothers, I say, screw the Property Brothers. I'm your new property brother with an A, and I'm going to keep it real with you about real estate. This is about guaranteed cash flow, not granite countertops. This is about guaranteed cash flow, not granite countertops. Let me show you my first property in Brooklyn. None of my properties will ever be featured on HGTV. This is my first property in Brooklyn, y'all. And you see linen white paint. They just splattered it everywhere. Everything, linen white, okay? But look at my kitchen, y'all. Formica countertops, the cheapest countertop you can get at Lowe's. No stainless steel appliances, okay? All white appliances. The cheapest cabinets you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot, okay? If I was making a decision based on what HGTV teaches, I would have missed out on this investment that is now appreciated by over $300,000, has gotten me, this initial purchase got me to rent and mortgage freedom immediately. So my first home was not my dream home, y'all, but it made my dreams possible. I need y'all to understand that. It was not my dream home, but it made my dreams possible. So if you were a single family HGTV buyer, and then there's multifamily real estate investors. Single family buyers are looking for their dream home. Multifamily investors are looking for an asset that pays for their dream home. Single family buyers, they buy based on emotions. Multifamily investors buy based on economics. Single family buyers, they buy based on open concept. Multifamily investors are trying to open possibilities in their life. Single family HGTV buyers, they're looking for a finished basement. Multifamily investors are looking to start building wealth. Your eyes have been trained wrong, y'all, when it comes to real estate and seeing it as an asset. Some of you are making a $400,000 decision off of an $800 double door stainless steel fridge. Why would you make a $400,000 decision off of an $800 refrigerator? How does that make any sense? Oh, look at these granite countertops. Guess what? Those granite countertops only cost $1,200 with an undermount sink. Why would you make a $400,000 decision off of a $1,200 countertop, y'all? Like, what's going on? I know homeownership is a dream that I know I can make a reality for all of you, but you have to trust this pathway that I'm teaching you so that you can get your desired home for absolutely free, meaning that you aren't making the mortgage payment because your assets and your other investment properties are paying it for you. All right? So finding the deal. I need to make you clear that a lot of you are looking on these websites like Trulia and Zillow and Redfin. That's not where I go to look for real estate deals. It's not, okay? You have to find deals, not listings. Trulia, Zillow, and Redfin have a lot of real estate listings. What we are looking for is real estate deals. We call them off-market deals. When you go to these websites, mass marketed listings regularly command a 30% premium to off-market deals. Why would you want to pay 30% more for anything? Why? That doesn't make any sense. So an off-market deal is a deal that you get through a relationship and through research. How many of you got the hookup? Let me explain what an off-market deal is. How many of you got the hookup at a store? Type the store that you got to hook up at, where you got family or friends working there. Type the store name. Nike, Blue Nile, Kroger, Macy's, Zara, Church of Chicken Champs, Costco, Office Depot. Good. So you already know what an off-market deal is. You got the hookup somewhere. And therefore, you got it earlier than everybody else, or you got it at a discount, okay? So here's the problem, y'all. Pause real quick. Don't type anything in chat. Pause real quick. You've been using your off-market deals to buy expenses and liabilities. I'm trying to teach you to do the exact same thing, but to buy assets and to buy income. I want you to use that same idea of relationships and research to buy assets and income, not expenses and liabilities. So you already know what an off-market deal is. It's not a new concept. You've just been using it to buy the wrong thing. All right. So off-market deals, I have them coming to me every single day via Instagram, text message, email, Facebook, off-market deals. You have to learn how to get off-market deals coming to you. Y'all can go ahead and type in chat again. All right. Here's one of my students said, Gabrielle said, Ronique, congratulations. Did you find this deal on Zillow? He said, no, I found it through a real estate financial broker who knew a wholesaler. Okay. This is how you find off-market deals. A lot of you are waiting on some real estate agent to lead you to the promised land. Guess what? You need a real estate advisor. Your real estate agent is likely clueless. I do not work with real estate agents who do not own multifamily real estate themselves or who cannot calculate cash on cash return. You realize that cash on cash return is the #1 metric when it comes to multifamily real estate, and most real estate agents don't know how to calculate it. You want to know why? Because 1, it is not on the real estate exam. And then 2, real estate agents are in the business of selling single family homes to American dreamers. They are not in the business of building wealth. Okay? So when you are buying multifamily real estate, it is different than buying single family. Okay? Single family is how much did we get approved for? We got approved for $400,000. How much is this home? It's $380,000. And do I like it? 3 factors when it comes to single family real estate. When it comes to multifamily real estate, there are 23 numbers that you need to know to effectively evaluate a deal. 23 numbers. If you miss one single number, you can actually step into a bad deal that you spend years climbing out of. I know where all these 23 numbers are. I know how to find them quickly, what their significance is, how they impact the deal. And I plug them into the Purchaser Pass Deal Analyzer, which is a financial model that I built out over the past 7 years that I use to evaluate every single deal that I do. And literally down here in the lower right, it tells me whether I should purchase or pass on the deal. I don't buy real estate based on emotions. I buy based on economics. All right. So I run the numbers really quickly, 10 minutes for me, right? I text my agent and then I sign a purchase agreement through Dotloop. And within 30 minutes, my offer is in. The only thing that beats a cash offer is a fast offer. All right. So in addition to that, you need to develop, how many numbers do you need to evaluate real estate, y'all? How many numbers do you need to know to evaluate a multifamily real estate deal? 23. Okay. You miss one, you step into a bad deal. So in addition to that, you have to develop your 4 eyes for real estate. Okay. You have to have eyes for the market. How do you know if a market is expanding or contracting? Right? What do you look for when you go there to see it? What numbers do you look for? What kind of things do you want to see in a market that's expanding? Then you need to have eyes for the neighborhood. Eyes for the neighborhood are, I've identified 33 signs of gentrification. 33 signs of gentrification. Okay. One of them is a white girl running through the neighborhood at 9:30 p.m. with her Lululemon on, her Apple Watch, and her headphones, feeling very comfortable and not looking over her shoulder in a neighborhood that used to be called the Hood. That is a sign of gentrification. Okay. And there's 32 more. Another one is multiple dumpsters on one single street. That means that people are investing in the neighborhood and property values are about to rise. You want to buy in a neighborhood that has 15 to 20 signs of gentrification. Okay. You do not want to buy in a neighborhood that has all 33 signs of gentrification. That means that the prices are going to be through the roof, literally. You want to find a neighborhood like I did in Bed-Stuy that has 15 to 20 and is moving towards 33. When I moved to the other side of what is Malcolm X Boulevard in Fulton and Utica, okay, guess what? They were shooting up. They were still shooting up. It was gunfire at night sometimes, right? Not on my block, but you could hear it around. But guess what's happened to my property value in the past 7 years? My property value has been shooting up very, very high. Okay? So you got to understand the game. So real quick, before we close out, we need to get clear on what is an asset. Asset over liabilities. What is an asset? Now, I used to have a lot more respect for this man, and I've lost a lot of it because of things he said regarding our community. But even still, his financial principles are still strong. And Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad Poor Dad said, an asset has value, produces income, or appreciates and has a ready market. Assets put money into your pocket. At what point does a single family home ever put money into your pocket, y'all? At what point does a single family home ever put money into your pocket? Never, unless you sell it. Okay? Somebody said if it's already paid off. What happens to a 30-year-old home, y'all? You paid off the mortgage. You thought your mortgage is done. Look at me. I'm doing well. I'm living free now. What happens to a 30-year-old home? Your mortgage becomes maintenance. Now you need to redo the roof. You need to do the foundation. You need to change the electrical. You need to change the plumbing. You thought you were done with the mortgage and your mortgage became maintenance. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to understand. You got to take care of the assets. The number one reason why Black folks lose their homes is because grandma didn't reinvest any money back into the property. And it wasn't grandma's fault. Grandma was actually the forerunner and got the property, but then all the aunties and uncles who were living there didn't pour any money back into it to sustain it. So now when grandma transitions, they all inherit a property that is run down and nobody wants to own. With a single family home, you have to continue to pour money into it. You don't just pay it off and still be able to live into it. Your roof will fall through. A roof, 10K. This is why we are losing our properties, because we need to get off that single family ship, okay? Because we need a property that is an asset that pays us. All right? So financial freedom is when your passive income is greater than your cost of living. Most of you have no passive income right now. All your income is active, meaning that you were trading time for money. I achieved financial freedom when I had about 10 multifamily apartments. Once I had about 10, my income from those units was greater than my cost of living, and I achieved financial freedom. All right? So that has to be the focus. Now, if I told you I found an ATM machine that was going to give you $1,090 every single month, all you have to do is pay $10,500 one time, would you give up or go get the money? I found an ATM machine that would pay you $1,090 every single month. All you have to do is pay $10,500 once. Would you give up or go get the money, y'all? Would you give up or go get the money? Okay, y'all talking good game. So earlier I talked to you about cash on cash return. Let me show you the cash on cash return on that deal. And if you don't know this, then that means your wealth consciousness needs to elevate. The cash on cash return on that transaction is 125%. Remember, the S&P 500 is only 4.23%. The cash on cash return on that investment is 125%. So that's a no-brainer. I will invest in anything that is almost guaranteed to return 125%. Okay? So let me show you my ATM machine, y'all. This is it. It's the duplex that I showed you earlier. It doesn't look like an ATM machine at the bank or bodega, but the price is $300,000, 3.5% down to $10,500. The rents are $3,200. The mortgage is $1,259. The taxes, insurance are $335. The CapEx, repair, reserve, and vacancy rate is $515. So that leaves me with $1,089.93 every single month because of this property. This is my ATM machine. You've been driving by it on your way to work, right? On your way to drop off your kids at school. If they're not homeschooled right now, on your way to the grocery store, you've been driving by ATM machines all along. You just couldn't see them as assets. You were looking at them as aesthetically. Again, none of my properties will ever be featured on HGTV. And I don't care. I don't care. That is not the name of the game. All right. So why you must do this now as we head into 2021? If you don't, then rents will continue to rise, which makes it harder for you to save. And then after this, there's a 3-month gap that you have to take advantage of where real estate prices are going to drop. And let me explain. The foreclosure moratorium is about to end at the end of the year. And then people who went into forbearance during coronavirus, forbearance is going to end. So they're going to have to come up off their properties and prices will drop as a result of more supply in the market, right? So you want to take advantage of this 3-month window as we go into Q1 of 2021. If you don't, then prices will continue to rise, which then makes it harder for you to buy. So you have to take advantage of this right now, or else you may never own multifamily real estate. I put that on everything. I'm not just saying that casually. You may never own. Now, there's a gap between the rich and the poor. We know that. And right now, to get to one side to the other, you can go through the Black Business School, you can go to the right schools, get the right kind of job, create your side hustle, create a business, etc. And you can get from one side to the other. But guess what? Coronavirus is done. It's made that gap even wider. And at some point, this gap will be so wide that no matter what you do, you will never be able to get across. And so what we're trying to do is help you get across through real estate before that gap widens and you were caught up. When you think about it, one of the most valuable things on earth is actually a piece of earth. One of the most valuable things on earth is actually a piece of earth. And Chinua Achebe said this: when the missionaries came to Africa, they had the Bible and we had the land. They said, let us pray. We closed our eyes. And when we opened them, we had the Bible and they had the land. Time to go get our shit back, y'all. Time to go get our shit back. We were the firstborn, and we are meant to be stewards of this place called earth, and we need to set it right. It is okay to be rich and righteous, okay? Some of us have negative relations with money. We think that money is the root of all evil. It's time to go get our shit back and redirect and change how money flows and operates in this world. 4 financial benefits of real estate. There's one property that I've showed you over the course of this presentation. Let me show you what it's going to do over the next 30 years. Again, this is not get rich quick. Multifamily real estate is not get rich quick. It is get rich guaranteed over time. So this one property is going to lead to $638,000 in cash flow after principal, interest, taxes, insurance, CapEx, repair reserve, and vacancy rate. The tax savings will be $278,000. The principal pay down will be $225,000. And the appreciation, if it appreciates at 1% per year for the next 30 years, will be $104,000. Together, all of that leads to a one for my family simply because of one piece of property. Okay? So this is the name of the game, y'all. You want to secure the bag? Go do it by securing a building, and then that will secure your housing. It will secure your retirement, and it will secure your legacy. Now, there are many ways to make money in real estate. There's mobile homes, tax liens, wholesaling, Airbnb, vacation rentals, fixing and flipping. And then, of course, there's multifamily. And where I can do a deep dive with you and help you succeed is making sure you get a multifamily home in your family's name within the next 12 months. So I want to share with you a program that Dr. Watkins and I developed that includes the multifamily master plan. Y'all open to hear about that real quick before I take any questions? You open to hear about that? For anybody who wants to accelerate their process, make sure that they don't make any mistakes on this journey. And I want to share this with you, all right? Because as we said earlier, you refuse to renew your lease. And for single family buyers, I got something for you too, okay? So the Multifamily Master Plan is a program that I developed that's going to accelerate your process. It's a 12-week experience where I'll guide you through everything that we just discussed and a lot more to accelerate how quickly you're able to buy a multifamily home the right way that gets you to rent and mortgage freedom. And, or if you have a single family home already, helps you create a stream of income that actually pays that mortgage, right? Or your student loans, or your credit card debt, or your medical bills, all right? The way this program is structured, it's 5 modules: finance it, find it, finalize it, fix it, and fill it, all right? So in the finance it module, I'm going to show you no to low money down programs. I'm going to show you what exactly lenders are looking for, quick credit fixes, how to FHA loans debunked, how to shop for lenders and make them compete for your business, why you should go as big as possible, right? And then, in fact, this is what Sandy said. I have 3 pre-approval letters, one for 500, the other for 415, the other for 700. So y'all go out there, you get pre-approved by one bank. I teach my students to go to 5 lenders and then make those lenders compete for their business, okay? Then find it, how to find great deals. I'm gonna teach you the 33 signs of gentrification. I'm gonna teach you the specific websites that are not truly a Zillow and Redfin to actually do due diligence on a deal. How to evaluate a deal in another state. Why the asking price that a seller wants does not even matter. And then how to get off-market deals coming to you daily, okay? Then in the finalize it module, I'm gonna show you the 23 numbers in the purchase or past deal analyzer, how to find them quickly, how to evaluate a deal in 10 minutes, the 4 most overlooked numbers that can make or break a deal, how to never pay at or above asking price, and then the 5 ways to exit any deal if it's not making sense. Then fix it, the 10 types of contractors that you need to have on deck before you even make your offer, how to vet that team, everything you must do during the inspection process, okay? The inspection process is one of your greatest points of leverage. Most people don't know this. You have a 10-day window, and I've literally helped my students reduce the purchase price by $35,000 through the inspection process. What are the very first things you need to do once you get the keys? It is not move in, and then what you should fix immediately, okay? And then fill it. You're a landlord now. How do you manage the property without always being there? How do you find great tenants fast? A sample lease agreement, long distance investing secrets for those of you who live in expensive markets and don't believe that you can afford there, and the top 20 real estate markets to invest in. Now, for those of you who are single family buyers already, I know there's quite a few of you. I literally have a module in here in the program that says single family homeowner, 6 ways to escape if you did, and 5 ways to use FHA twice. There are 6 ways for you to reverse yourself out of that situation and acquire wealth. And then there's 5 ways for you to use FHA twice, okay? There are specific narratives that you'll have to use with the lender to actually qualify for one of the exemptions. And so I teach you those in the program so that you can get another low down payment. Now, real quick, I have my students, many of my students who are here. I didn't know they were going to be here. I'm happy that they are, and they can testify and verify all of this information for you. But I'm just going to run, because we're running out of time, I'm just going to share with you some of the success stories that we have. I'm not going to go through each one, but these are all of my students. Spencer, the Powell family, Jason, San Antonio, Barton, New Orleans, Robin, a single mom, duplex, New Orleans, Ronique, fourplex, Birmingham, Alabama. Now he's working on a duplex, Birmingham, Alabama. Our youngest student, Demetrius, used his VA loan. Okay, Colleen, Texas, fourplex. Stephen, $35,000 under asking, lives in Northeast, Barton, New Orleans. Okay, April, what is this? Virginia Beach, Virginia, has a fourplex there that she Airbnbs. Jay actually found a single family that did cash flow and had $8,000 equity, so she did that deal. Fernando, Los Angeles, California, going to use the group home business model. Terrence, fourplex in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Jetro, fourplex in Gainesville, Florida. Sandra, duplex in Kansas City, Missouri. Nikki, fourplex, Chicago. Devon, duplex in East Orange, New Jersey. Malika, Baton Rouge. Alan, triplex in Baltimore. Okay. Darren and Aisha, Providence, Rhode Island. Tyler and Olivia, fourplex in New Orleans. Alyssa, Pensacola, Florida. And I'm just going to go to some of the recent ones so you see how recently my students are closing. Look at this, November 23rd. This is, look at this. So Lamont, November 17th. Taisha, November 20th, November 23rd. November 23rd, November 24th. November 24th, November 24th, November 28th, Los Angeles. November 30th, December 3rd. December 3rd, another December 3rd, and I actually have some more recent ones too, so that I haven't put up here yet. So this process that I'm teaching you works, y'all. It works. And all my students who are here can testify that it does work. And so what we want to do is we want to invite you to be a part of this program called the Black Real Estate Investor Group, okay, which is committed to creating freedom and generational wealth through real estate. We are seeking to help 300 people or families acquire a cash flow positive multifamily home within 6 months of being pre-qualified, right? So first and foremost, it starts with the multifamily master plan program, okay? Now, this is not just your traditional course, right? Only 20% of this program will actually be online. You heard that correct. Only 20% of this program will actually be online. 40% of the program will be on the phone, talking to lenders, agents, realtor, contractors, wholesalers, owners, building your real estate Rolodex, right? And then 40% will actually be in your car and in your shoes, actually experiencing new neighborhoods and properties. Real estate is a contact sport. You must be in contact with people and properties, all right? The way this program is structured is every single week, you will have a challenge. You will have a challenge, okay? The financial house cleaning challenge, the lender shopping challenge, the pre-approval challenge, the real estate agent challenge, the neighborhood knowledge challenge #1, the deal a day challenge #1, okay? Then the real estate team building challenge. Then you'll do the new neighborhood challenge and the deal a day challenge over and over and over again until you find your deal, all right? Then how do I hold you accountable? Every single week, we will have our weekly deal room call. On that call, you have to report publicly what you did to move forward on your goals, okay? You cannot hide in this group. Then we do our coaching. You can jump in the hot seat and I will coach you on whatever deal that you are focused on and maybe having a challenge with. And then on our way out of that call, you have to set a goal for the upcoming week, right? A lot of programs out there are only focused on the transfer of information. Here in the Black Business School, all we care about is results and all we care about is your transformation. So we provide you with accountability. How many of you wanted to lose weight this year? How many of you wanted to lose weight this year? Let me know in chat. A lot of you wanted to lose weight this year, okay? Now, a lot of you wanted to lose weight but didn't. And all the videos that you need to do workouts are on YouTube for free, okay? and all of the recipes are online for free. So you have to come to the realization that it's not information that is stopping you from succeeding. What's stopping you from succeeding is the accountability. And that is what our weekly drill rooms are all about. It's about holding you accountable. All right. It's about holding you accountable. In the same way that a personal trainer will hold you accountable on your physical journey, I am holding you accountable on your real estate journey. All right. To make sure that you succeed. Right. So you can go try to piece all this together through YouTube and podcasts and blog posts and books if you want. All the information is scattered all out there. What I've done is I provided the structure and the accountability to make sure that you implement the information. You realize that the truth will not set you free. A lot of y'all have known the truth for a long time. Okay. It is acting on the truth that will set you free. It is acting on the truth that will set you free. All right. So with that, you're also going to get the Purchase or Pass Deal Analyzer. Okay. That is the financial model that I developed that you will get access to be able to evaluate all your deals and make sure that you do that correctly. I'm not sure if they've already talked about it. You will also get a ticket worth $599 to our Generational Wealth Conference, right? That is coming up in January. On day one, we talk about all my wealth building strategies and Dr. Watkins wealth building strategies beyond real estate. And then day two is solely focused on real estate, where we're going to be covering how to mitigate your tax liability, how to do new construction, how to do rehab, how to become a real estate developer. Okay. So all of that will be at that conference. We're also going to be discussing insurance strategies, tax strategies in terms of your personal taxes. All of that will be covered at the Generational Wealth Conference, right? So the total value of that, this is us last year. This is 100 of us. Some of you are here right now. That's me right there. That's my daughter right there. This is a movement in real life, y'all. This is a movement in real life. So everything that I'm sharing with you is worth about $5,000, $4,997. And so real quick, I want to ask in chat, would it be worth $4,997 one time to eliminate your monthly rent expense or single family home mortgage forever? If so, let me know in chat. Okay, I'm literally trying to get you to rent and mortgage freedom where you never have a housing expense for the rest of your life. Would it be worth it if all it did was help you acquire one cash flow positive multifamily home within the next year? Just one within the next year. Let's say you don't do it in 3 months like many of my students. Let's say it takes you 12 months. Would it still be worth it? I just showed you how, one, you no longer paying rent for the rest of your life. Just add that up, or just add up how much rent you've paid thus far. And then I showed you how one property is going to lead to a $1.2 million shift in generational wealth for my family. Okay. So that's a no-brainer. And then would it be worth it if the only thing you learned was how to buy right so that you never ended up underwater on a real estate deal thanks to the deal analyzer? Because if you buy wrong, a lot of us, some of you guys are dealing with bankruptcy because you got caught up in predatory loans and things of that nature. I'll make sure that you never do a bad deal, never, as a result of the Purchase or Pass Deal Analyzer. So here are your options to join this program. And if there's anybody here who are students and can testify, go ahead and put that in chat. But option one is going to feel free and it's going to cost you the most, and that's you do nothing. That's you just happily paying rent. That's coming up again in 2 weeks, every single month, and just hoping that somehow your situation changes, right? Again, go multiply and add up how much rent you've paid since you've been quote unquote living on your own. It is actually financially irresponsible to live on your own until you own something. I didn't live on my own until I owned something. I drove a 2000 Honda Accord till 2018. Are you willing to make the sacrifices necessary to create wealth for you and your last name? Now, earlier, you all said that you would go get the money when I gave you this hypothetical situation, right? You said you would go get the money. Well, now I'm putting you at a real crossroads where you can continue on the path that you've been on, or you can pave a new financial future, right? Earlier, you were using your Twitter fingers. You were talking about how hard you were, by any means necessary. You know me, I'm about that life. I'll do whatever I got to do for my seed. You were talking a good game earlier when it was just a hypothetical situation. Now I'm giving you a real life situation to make a decision about whether you're going to give up, right? Or go get the money. So your option number one to join the program is to go to theblackreigroup.com. theblackreigroup.com. Let me put that in chat. And I think the Black Business School team is here to post it as well. theblackreigroup.com. And you can join for a one-time payment of $2,499. All right. If you do that, you will save $1,089. That's literally equivalent to 1 to 2 months of rent expense for you. 1 to 2 months of rent expense to put you in position to never, ever, ever have to pay rent or mortgage again. Okay. Does anybody know how much Fortune Builder costs? How much has anybody been to a Fortune Builder meeting? I went to one in New Orleans. 70% of the audience was people of color, and they're literally stealing people's down payments. You see these numbers for Fortune Builders? $50,000, $40,000 to $50,000. $40,000 to $50,000 for the exact same thing that I'm teaching you. I went to that meeting. And that's part of the reason I created this program. Is because I was like, I don't want your down payment. I'm doing fine financially. I don't need your down payment. Okay. I'd rather you have that so that you can actually get in the game. Well, at the Black Business School, we do not care about how many students we have. Our results are based on how many students actually win. And so that's why I showed you about 60 different success stories just before. Now, how many of you need a payment plan? Brandy said, just went to Fortune Builder, shaking my head. How many need a payment plan? We know that coronavirus has created, made some of you financially vulnerable. And that was a wake-up call. Just see it as a wake-up call, okay? As a wake-up call that you didn't have any passive income, that you're still forking out so much in housing expense every single month. So for those of you who need a payment plan, we have 2 options. One, we have $499 per month for 6 months, okay? You save $594 when you do that. And then we have $299 per month for 12 months. Once you've made all your payments, you have lifetime access to the program. Once you made all your payments, you have lifetime access to the program, okay? Now, when you do the one pay, you get access to everything immediately, okay? You get access to everything immediately. When you do the subscriptions, when you do the payment plans, you get access to the first 3 modules, and then the rest of your modules will get dripped to you as your payments come in, okay? So we reward people who are fully committed and saying, yes, I want this. I'm not looking back, okay? I am going forward, and I'm gonna make this a reality for myself in 2021, all right? So these are your options. $2,499 one pay, save $1,089. That $1,089, it will actually help you with your appraisal and your property inspection, right? So we want you to keep that for your appraisal and your property inspection, right? So when you go to theblackreigroup.com, you'll see the options there. You'll see the 40% off discount. So take advantage of that now. We're also giving you the Fuel It module, which will show you how I scale my portfolio up from 0 to 10 properties, right? So it's one thing to buy the first property, but ultimately we don't just want one property. We ultimately want a portfolio. We want an entire portfolio, okay? Then we have REI Tax Secrets, which I show you how to use your real estate to mitigate and eliminate almost all of your taxes. Literally, I showed you how one property is going to lead to $278,000 in tax savings, okay? Again, this is not tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. This is tax avoidance by leveraging the laws through real estate. Then you're going to get my Overnight Success Airbnb course, okay, which shows you how I built a 6-figure Airbnb business. And then you'll also get the Purchase of Past Deal Analyzer online, which is a online version of the spreadsheet that I showed you, where you can evaluate all your deals in the same place. What's also beautiful about this is where we share deals. Our community shares deals with each other and the public deals tab and the Purchase of Past Deal Analyzer. And for those of you who have credit issues and believe that your credit is stopping you, then you will also get Casley Johnson's Credit Mastery Program, okay? That will help you boost your credit score by 50 to 150 points. And for those of you who need additional income to make this payment, we're going to show you or give you how to buy a business program so that you can actually buy another asset that you can eventually own and control and actually be generating cash flow, okay? So real estate, ultimately, when you buy a business, it can be passive if you do it right. Income and reduce your interest, right? And how money works.
Give us just a moment, folks, and Julian will join us again. Thank you so much for your patience. Just a little bit of a technical glitch, so let's give him just a moment to come back in.
I'll come in for a few moments. How's everyone doing today? Julian was, I guess, getting to the end of it, telling you about the offer with the Black Real Estate Investing group, the Black REI group. It's actually one of our best products that we have in the Black Business School, and one of the most popular products that we have in the BBS. And Julian talks all about, in terms of how he's changing lives with the Black REI group and the multifamily movement. And I'm a believer, and I know Boyce is a believer as well with everything that he talks about. So, for the people who don't know me, I assume most people did, but if you don't know me, my name is Lawrence Watkins. I am the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. So me and Boyce started the Black Business School about 5 years ago. Or so. We've grown by leaps and bounds over the past 5 years. And we really are looking to help make people free, financially free, to create a legacy for their families, as well as have security and stability when they go into their golden years of retirement as well. But until Julian gets back.
Lawrence, can I ask a quick question? Do you mind?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
We have a lot of Julian-specific questions, but primarily they were asking about the link and how long the deal is active, or how long is the deal good for. And make sure you check the chat, folks. We've dropped the link there a few times, and I will drop it again.
All right, so I believe it's 48 hours in terms of how long the deal is good for. So the deal will be good for the next 48 hours. So we'll probably shut it down around this time on Monday afternoon on that particular front.
Okay, I'll make sure to drop the link one more time. Welcome back, brother.
What's going on? I don't know what happened, y'all.
All that fire tight. You were bringing, Julian.
Yeah, hey, they wanted to shut it down. They wanted to shut it down. It's all good. It's all good. So for everybody here, just visually, this is what you ultimately get for $2,499. Again, everything here a la carte would be $9,234. At the Black Business School, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So come in, kick the tires. If you're not fully committed, if you're not sure that you want this for 2021, then come in, kick the tires, try it out, and we are pretty certain that you will be impressed by what we deliver and how fast you make progress in the program. Again, we've had students close in 30 days, but most students who are ready in terms of having their credit, their cash, and their cash flow ready, they're taking anywhere from 3 to 5 months on average to close. So we have a 30-day money back guarantee. Literally email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. No questions asked, and we'll do that. So as Lawrence said, you can take advantage of these different payment options. You save $1,089 when you pay in full. You save about $594 when you do the 6-month plan, and then $299 per month for 12 months is your other option. The offer is available for 48 hours, so it's going to end on is it Monday or Sunday, Lawrence?
We're going to shut it off 2 days from now, so Monday.
Okay, Monday. So to end on Monday, all right? So I just want everybody to know that you are literally one deal away. You were literally one deal away. This was my first deal in Brooklyn, New York, and it literally changed the financial trajectory of my life. One single purchase, all right? And so this is what the promise of this program is to help you get there. I've showed you all the people who we've helped thus far, and we want you to definitely be the next. So with that, I don't know how much time we have to take for questions given the technical difficulties, but I'm happy to answer any if we have them. All of my questions got erased when I got kicked out. So Lawrence, if you want to read questions, I guess we take 3 to 5 questions.
All right. Yeah, we'll take 3 to 5. So let me go ahead and get some of the best ones on here. So Yeah, hang tight. Okay. Sandra wants to know, I may be able to speed up payments. Are there any perks if I do?
Lawrence, I'll leave that to you, brother.
Yeah, so there's no way to speed up payments per se, but we do allow our students to upgrade within the first 3 months. So you can sign up for, let's call it the 12-month plan at $299 per month, right? But then you have 3 months to upgrade to get the same price of $24.99 for the entire year. We would just deduct the amount that you've already paid for the course up until that point. So if it's after 2 months, you would have paid, I guess, call it about $600. We would take 24 or 2,500 minus 600. So then that means you'll have what's that? $1,900 left to pay. So that's one way that you can speed up your payments.
Got it. So I got some quick ones that I'm gonna do because again, apologies for the technical difficulties, but I want to get your question answered. I want you to make informed decisions about real estate, but also this program. So what's the cost of the analyzer spreadsheet? Rachel, it is not sold separately. That is only available to my students. Is the analyzer good for all United States? Yes, the analyzer, this is basic fundamental real estate principles. So the deal analyzer works for any place. Can you do this without living in the property? Yes, you can. Obviously, I don't live in all 10 of my properties. The first property that you get, we definitely want you to live in it because that will get you a very low down payment. FHA only has a 1-year living requirement. But if you are attached to your single family home or wherever you're living, then you can be a real estate investor and build your portfolio. It's just going to require 20 to 25% down. So we may have to find a smaller, secondary, less expensive market for you to invest in if you do not want to live in the property. If you are dealing with bankruptcy, which is the next question, bankruptcy has particular timelines. I cannot get you financed until that bankruptcy comes off. So we have to, I don't know when your bankruptcy started and when it ends. We'll have to wait for that to come off, but you can come in and learn the game. If you still have an income and you still have cash right now, you can come in and learn the game so that the moment that bankruptcy comes off, we can get you started. If you haven't saved up for the down payment, Tashiana, we're going to challenge you to go through NACA. NACA is no down payment. So we'll challenge you to go that route if you have no down payment. If you need to get your credit repaired first, one, you're going to get Castley Johnson's Credit Mastery Program. But this program is designed for 12 weeks, but you can go at your own pace. Some of you are going to be like, I'm on the 24-week plan. I'm on the 36-week plan. I need to handle my credit first. I'm taking care of my mom right now. And I want to start in February. Join now, lock in the price, right? And then jump in at any time that feels good for you. Are there any one-on-one conversations for mentorship? No, there is no one-on-one in this program. Look, y'all, if Harriet Tubman only freed one person at a time, she would only free 19 people. Right? So she took groups of people, cohorts of people. So the only time you can get one-on-one basically is in the weekly deal room calls where I will coach you live on camera, just like Lawrence, you see Lawrence and I right now. But the entire community is listening in, okay? The entire community is listening in. So that is the closest to one-on-one. I'm also in our Facebook group every single day. They're twice a day answering questions. So if you have a question in between our weekly deal room calls, you can ask your question there. If the group pool funds together, what will that work, or is it individual basis? I have created funds in other larger developments that my students have invested in. My students always get first access to any other larger deals that I'm doing. So my students have pulled together funds to buy larger multifamily commercial properties in Baton Rouge. And we'll be doing some deals in Houston soon as well. So my students get first access. And then if we don't fill the full gap, then I reach out to my larger network. But yes, my students do pull together funds to buy larger commercial properties. All right.
Go ahead, all right. Yeah. So if you have any more questions regarding the program, just please reach out to support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Also on the page at the blackreigroup.com, at the bottom, there is a more extensive FAQ section that there's a good likelihood that your question is there as well. So please check that out also. So on that note, I'd like to give a round of applause to our brother, Mr. Julian Gordon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lawrence Watkins, may I ask a question? Because I don't want my brother from another mother to leave us without giving us his top book recommendation. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let Julian Gordon answer that.
Oh my goodness. My top book recommendation. For those of you who don't know, I'm writing my new book called Rich and Righteous. I just completed the first draft and it is coming out very, very soon. We'll send an email out to everyone who's here. It's called Rich and Righteous, The Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. It is time for those of us who are righteous, and all of us who are here, I know are righteous. I know your heart is set on the right path, to actually be rich and to reestablish a new relationship with money. A lot of us were taught that money is evil, and as a result, we repel money from our lives. And so it's time for us to elevate our wealth consciousness and start to accept money as easily as we accept oxygen. Money is economic oxygen. And we, but yet here we're out here saying that I can't breathe. So we have to understand how money works, how to attract it, how to manifest it, and how to do that through actual tangible businesses like multifamily real estate, like digital courses, and the Black Expert Empire, through stock market, etc. We have to learn how to multiply money. We are meant to be here, and it says be fruitful and multiply. That's not just in terms of having larger families. That's actually multiplying anything that we touch, money being one of those things. So I'm excited about that. That book will be coming out very soon. So we'll send out an email, and as that launch comes in Q1 of 2021, I'll do an interview with either Dr. Watkins or Lawrence, and we'll give all the details then.
All right. Thank you, Brother Julian.
Thank you,
Ed. If you had questions, no worries at all. Looking forward to picking up the book. If you had questions in chat, or go ahead, what you gonna say?
Yeah, y'all can DM me. If you have any more questions, you can DM me. I'm gonna put my Instagram right now. You can DM me if you have any more questions. I'm available, y'all. All right.
All right, and also, just to let everyone know, we have about 1,400 people in here, 1,300 people that are here today. Learning real estate as a community, as a group, trying to create financial legacy for our families. So if we do not get to your question, we have about 230 or so open right now. And it's difficult to answer every single question that comes through today, but we'll do our best to answer some of these throughout lunch. But then also just please make sure that you check out the page and also support at theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support at theblackbusinessschool.com. If someone from the team can just drop the blackreigroup.com link in chat, that'd be great once again. But on that note, I'll pass it over to Stephany.
Thank you, Lawrence. Oh my goodness, guys. Was Julian not amazing? I'm an agent. I know he talked about us as agents. What he's saying is true. I can totally understand his perspective, his point of view. I loved it. I took notes. I want to sign up for his class. So I'm excited about it. I have the funds, so I need to make my first investment outside of my initial investment, which is my residential property. Thank you so much, Julian, for that information. Before we all go to break, guys, I just want to take a second to recap this afternoon. So right after lunch, we will be meeting, for many of you, Antoine Thompson. He is Executive Director of NAREB, so you will learn more about that amazing organization. And I saw it a couple times in the chat. It's NAREB.com. Then after speaking with Antoine, we'll learn about partnerships and how we grow our business as agents and the preferred and success partners that we utilize. And we will finish up with our commercial broker later this afternoon, Candace Commercial, all the way from Texas. All this great real estate going on in Texas. So we have at least 6 other folks that you will be meeting later this afternoon. So before lunch, we want you to enjoy the Fine Line Band, powered by I Am Live Entertainment. So they will be coming to you via audio. Grab your food, grab your drinks, grab your friends, continue to share the link. I think we still have space in the overflow. Take your time. We may even be coming back a little bit earlier before Antoine comes on. I'm not sure, to see if we can address some of these questions. So stay tuned. Enjoy the positive vibes. I heard the band earlier. They are amazing. So we'll be seeing you all after lunch. Are we ready for the band?
We are. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, lunch is 1 hour, everyone. I see people asking it in chat.